and I look out, and my mom is sitting in this little Ford Ranger in the middle seat next to my dad, and she's like patting the seat, and I'm like, what are you doing? I said to them, I go, why didn't you bring the SUV? And they go, I don't know. I'm like, if this is retirement, I want it right now. Where you just casually pile into the mid-sized truck and you squeeze in and you're just like, we're having a good day. I'm like, we are having a great day. Your grandchildren are really freaking healthy right now. And I feel great about it. So.
Look at that change. Your face.
So. The truck is being repaired. No.
What?
The van is being repaired.
Okay.
Your parents are like, what?
Mom and Dad, don't worry about the truck. It's supposed to be done today. And I have enjoyed every single one of the comments of all of the tire experts on the Facebook page telling me what to do. For the people who are wondering, the tire was not repairable.
Mm-mm. So you couldn't
patch it.
I mean, you could, but there's no self-respecting tire shops that can patch that.
Yes. So there was a lot of, you just need to repair that. Someone commented on the thing. I showed a picture of one tire, not even the whole tire, with the nails sticking out. And the person said, oh, that's not repairable. You're definitely going to need 4 new tires. I'm like, 4?
Well, yeah, why 4?
Why didn't you know that?
He works at a tire shop. That's why.
Exactly. He got a good deal to sell me. So anyway, today's YouTube live chat poll, we invite you to come watch us on the YouTube live right now and participate in this conversation that I am going to do something I don't normally do in the next segment. We're going to open the phones. And the local phone number here, 314-241-9797. If you want to give us a call in the next segment, there's nobody out there to answer your call right now, so don't call. But I'll tell you when we're opening the phones. The YouTube live chat poll today is, what is your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? What is your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? Are you really excited for the next 20 days to pass and to see how this election turns out? Do you have a lot of fear? Are you afraid of voters getting it wrong? Of not paying attention to what's going on or not showing up? Do you have a fear of it? Are you worried about it? You know that it could go one way or the other, but you just carry the weight of anxiety about it? Or are you just generally speaking hopeful? And I think fear and anxiety are kind of the same, but they're also different. Because you can be anxious about something, like you could be getting married and be anxious about it. And that is a good anxiety of sorts. So you have to learn how to manage it. I think that's different than being afraid of getting married. Excitement and hope are different as well to me. If you're like super pumped and you can't wait for election night, so on and so forth, that's different than just being hopeful about the election. So what we're going to do in the next segment is take your phone calls here on 97.1 FM Talk. But right now, let's discuss in the room where we are on this issue. And we'll see over the course of the day when people are commenting, we'll figure out if our thoughts on this have changed at all. So, Ryan, I'll start with you. Your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election: excitement, fear, anxiety, hope.
I can tell you pretty confidently that I am excited about it simply because I mean, partially because of what we do. I love covering the horse race and everything leading up to it. It's exciting, and I enjoy that. But also because of the politics, I don't think that even the worst case scenario is worse than it is now. I think the worst case scenario will end up better than what we have in Congress, especially right now, and across lots of states too. So I think it's probably a mixture of hope there, but I would say more than anything, I'm excited about it.
Excitement.
Yes.
Hannah?
I'm feeling anxious about the midterm elections. I feel like there's so much at stake that, this is a really important election and all that. Ryan, your advice about how things basically can't get any worse than they are right now, that makes me feel a little bit better. But I would say my main emotion I'm feeling right now about the midterms is anxiety.
Anxiety.
Anxious. Whatever.
That's pretty the anxiety, that's pretty standard issue emotion for you, Hannah.
Yeah, I'm just an anxious person no matter what. Mm-hmm. So
that's okay.
Things are going to get better. How do you feel, Hannah?
Worried.
I'm anxious.
Yeah.
Scared.
I understand that. I get that. Brad?
Hopeful. Don't make that face. I know
This is
exactly
why we
what
suit
you're
each
thinking.
other on this show.
Yeah. Hannah is the yin to my yang. I'm hopeful that, I'm not excited about it because I know that there's a possibility that things don't go the way that I want them to go. But I'm hopeful about it because I think that should things go the way that I am expecting them to go, that we will turn the country around or at least put the brakes on. And I think that's the very first step is just slamming on the brakes. Let's stop doing what we're doing knowing that it's not working. And it's not working pretty quickly. It's not like there's a delay in it. It's 8.5% inflation. There's war in Ukraine, all this other stuff. It's going to take a while to turn the ship around. Plus, you're not going to have a friendly White House. But I'm hopeful that
He's really friendly depending on who you are.
Yeah, a little too friendly.
I got ice cream. Come and get it.
Yeah.
I don't think he shares that.
What's he say? No serious men until you're 30?
No.
Gosh.
I have just put that on the top shelf for me, so I can't reach it because I don't want to go there.
It's not bad advice. It's just that it's him doing it.
It is terrible advice.
I mean, it's funny. It's supposed to be.
Here we're talking about it.
Sorry.
No, stop. We have 20 seconds to figure this out. We'll maybe talk about it at the 2 o'clock hour.
But hopeful that we're going to get the country on the right track.
So I feel anxiety about it. And the reason why I feel anxiety about it is because as an Illinois resident, I think that if I lived in Missouri, I would be just incredibly excited about what was going to happen next. I have anxiety because I don't know if Illinois is going to be able to show up in the force that they're going to need to show up to push back against what we know goes on in Illinois elections all the time. And if you look at how the Pritzker campaign has pushed themselves out there, they have unlimited amount of money. I keep getting messages from people who are saying, I haven't seen a Bailey ad anywhere. I haven't seen a Bailey ad on TV. Do you know why? Because it costs a ton of money to do that. And right when Darren Bailey won the primary, the biggest Republican investor in the state of Illinois, when Richard Irvin didn't win, he moved to Miami. He took his money with him. That was a huge, huge, huge deal. So, folks, this is all I can tell you about the race, all the races in Illinois. If you're upset that there isn't enough funding going to these commercials, or if you haven't maybe even thought that far, that you're upset that you're not seeing commercials, it costs a ton of money. And every time the Republicans make an ad buy, the Democrats can sneeze and triple that ad buy to try to drown out what the Republicans do. So they have to be extremely smart with every penny. This is what I'm telling you, that grassroots movements in politics cannot be bought because they are real. And that means that you are the most valuable asset that any Republican candidate has in the state of Illinois. Make your own ad. I'm serious about this. Get your phone out, pick a candidate that you're supporting and that you really, really want to see win this election. Go on your phone, record a video of yourself saying exactly why you're supporting who you're supporting, tag that candidate on social media, send it to the Annie Frey Show, and be heard, because that isn't bought. That's real. You are a real person with a real network of friends and family that you can speak to. You have to do it, because we cannot, as Illinois Republicans, compete with the Democrats' money. And they are so used to being able to buy whatever they want in this state once they get elected with your money. It has to stop now. That's where my anxiety comes from. And tires and kids and inflation.
But your kids are all
Wiggins.
fine. Yeah.
My kids are all healthy, though.
Inflation and
Except
deflation.
for the one with the broken foot.
Inflation and deflation. That was a good joke. We should acknowledge that.
Good joke, Brad.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with your phone calls, 314-241-9797. I just unblocked the phones. Hannah's going to go answer them right now. She's watching your comments as well. What's your emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? We're going to give you each about a minute to talk. We're going to go through these as fast as we can so we can get everybody in this next segment. 314-241-9797. Give us a call. We'll get you on air as fast as we can. You might very well disagree with everything we say. You can call us too. We'd love to speak with you. Back with the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk, in a minute.
We only dance for a minute or two, and she stuck close to me the whole night through. Can I be?
The Annie Frey Show 97.1 FM Talk.
I've been dreaming of.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Home and she held my hand. I knew it couldn't be just a one-night stand.
Second Amendment Radio is a staple of solid firearm information on 97.1 every weekend. Saturday from 3 to 4 and Sunday from noon to 1. It's Second Amendment Radio and the great outdoors. 97.1 FM Talk.
Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw on the Retirement Advisory Group. We're talking about emotions that we have right now. What kind of emotion do you have regarding the economy right now? What about your retirement? If you have worry going into your retirement at this point in time, we want to make sure that you have entered into the whole process. If you're 10 years out, if you're 5 years out from retirement, with confidence. You've worked really, really hard for what you have. Make sure that it's going to be there working for you as well. What you need to do is reach out to Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group and talk to him about how he can provide you with that worry-free retirement, that elusive worry-free retirement, and get you going in a place where you can relieve that anxiety. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494 to set up a no-cost, no obligation retirement review to help you move into your retirement with confidence. You can find all the details online as well at retirementkey.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet, and the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes: cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
You've been running around, throwing that dirt all on my name. Cause you knew that I'd call
The
you
Annie
up.
Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Party in LA. Cause you knew that I'd be at one. Oh. I know that dress is karma, perfume regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Ooh, and now I'm all up on you, what you expect, but you're not coming home with me tonight.
2014 was a late building wave. You saw that number spike in the last couple weeks. You've now seen this one go from the Republicans just getting ahead of the Democrats a few weeks ago to being up by over 2 points in today's average. So what you're describing in terms of feeling like things might be moving back towards the Republicans is, it seems right now, bearing out in these numbers. As you say, 3 weeks to go, see if things change.
So the Republicans are currently ahead on that generic ballot, and this might play into your emotions. A lot of times polls do that. Your YouTube live chat poll today, if you go to youtube.com/@AnnieFrey, you can see our YouTube live video. What is your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? Brad, you were hope.
Hope.
Ryan, you were
Excite.
and I was anxiety along with Hannah. So we want to know what you think. And your phone calls right now on the Annie Frey Show. We're going to speed through these as quickly as we can. So 314-241-9797. That's 314-241-9797. Not something we do normally here on the Annie Frey Show, but we thought that 20 days out from the election, this would be a good opportunity to do that. 314-241-9797. Let's start with Debbie. Debbie, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show. How are you feeling about this midterm election coming up? And Debbie seems to be speechless.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably just feeling overwhelmed. So she had to quiet down a little bit. Otherwise, she was going to get too emotional.
Yeah, so that was a good decision on her part.
Mhm.
If Debbie gets her words about him, she can call us back.
Sure.
314-241-9797. Marley is on the line right now. Marley, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show.
Hey,
Hi, Marley.
I have all four emotions.
All four. If you had to highlight one, which one's leading you?
Probably anxiety.
Yeah, and
because
what
like
is
you
it?
Said
Go ahead.
with Pritzker having all that money. I mean, I love Darren. He is just down to earth. But you know, a good Christian man. Does Illinois really want that?
I hope so. I think so.
I know. Me too.
Marley, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. You know, when it comes to having a good Christian man, that matters to me. That doesn't matter to everyone, though, Ryan. As an Illinois resident, I mean, I'm sure that for you, it's beneficial to have somebody in office who does reflect those same values. But I will reiterate, though, Donald Trump is not somebody who put himself out there as a good Christian man. He certainly has a lot of questionable things in his past. But again, as Christians, I would like you to pick out the non-sinners among us and set them aside, and then maybe we can vote for them for office.
Yeah.
Good luck finding one.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly on my list. It's just one of those things that even down to local elections, if somebody comes out and says, I'm a Christian, but they want higher taxes, I'm not going to vote for that. I'm going to vote for somebody who has the principles that I want in office.
Yeah. Let's go to Michael in O'Fallon. Michael, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, Annie. Always good talking to you. I feel like I'm a mixture of excited and hopeful. I'm excited because, you know, from county board all the way up to governor, we have a lot of outstanding candidates that are running for the right reasons. And I know you've had a lot of those on your show over the past couple of months. So we always appreciate hearing from them. So I'm excited for that reason, and I'm hopeful because I think there's a real opportunity to make some serious changes here in the state of Illinois and across the country. We just can't take the red wave for granted. I think that's my big takeaway is, you know, a lot of the issues that people are worried about are the issues that Republicans are strong on, like taxes and crime and the economy and inflation. But we just have to get out and spread the word, you know, in the coffee shops and barber shops and at the line at Chick-fil-A or wherever you're at. Make sure you're hyping up our Republican candidates because that's what it takes.
Michael, that's such a great point. Thank you so much for calling the show. We do. That's another reason why I have some anxieties because I know so many of these people who are running on both sides of the river, and some people who are running statewide offices, some people who are running national campaigns. I know these people in many cases personally, and they're good people. I don't use the platform that I have right now, like in a campaign, to try to spend the majority of my time lifting up good people. And I think, one of the emotions that you can pick from here is fear. What I'm seeing from the Democrats on the left, their biggest campaign issue is to scare you into thinking if the Republicans get elected that you have something to be afraid of. Think about your reality right now. Do you feel safer? Is your retirement account doing okay? Is your checking account doing okay? Is your savings account doing okay? Does your future outlook look okay? If you're raising kids or if you have grandkids, do you feel comfortable about the world that they're being raised in? How drastically has that turned under Democratic leadership? It's pretty drastic, I would say. 314-241-9797. Got a full board of phones here. Let's get to Tom in Missouri. Tom, thanks for calling the show.
Thank you, Annie. I'm kind of like you. If you were to live in Missouri, which I do, I'd be excited. I should be excited. But I'm anxious, and the reason I'm anxious is because I know Missouri's solid red. I don't worry about that. But nationally, I'm worried about more Democratic shenanigans and my little belief in a good voting system. And I hate that I have that belief, but sometimes I question is my vote really even matter? And I hate that. But yeah, I'm a little nervous. I think it should go red. I think it needs to go red for the country's sake. But I'm worried about the Democratic shenanigans.
Well, I appreciate that phone call, Tom. I'll tell you, in Missouri, J.F. Ashcroft has done a really good job of securing those elections. And I think it's really interesting to look at Georgia and all of the election reforms they put in and how the MLB ripped the All-Star game out of Atlanta because of how racist they are. They have record turnout this election so far because of some of the new laws that have been put into place. Let's get to Chris in St. Charles. Chris, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, Annie, how are you doing today?
Doing okay. We appreciate you being here.
All right. Well, I'm an Illinois transplant back over here to Missouri, originally from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to the liberal gun laws over there, which I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, a convicted felon was allowed to own a gun, and I was a victim of a crime over there. So, unfortunately, I had to move back over to Missouri, which is all great and all. But I'm a blue-collar worker, an ex-general contractor, owner of a small business. And I do know a lot of liberals, unfortunately, and they're fed up with what the Democrats have done, and they kind of missed 45 and the way the country was ran back then. So I'm actually pretty confident that we are going to take back over finally again and get this country back on the right track.
Chris, thank you for that phone call. I appreciate it. I'll read a comment here as people are continuing to call in, 314-241-9797 from Scooter on our YouTube page. Ryan, I'll read this to you. When Republicans are elected, abortion will be banned. Social Security and Medicare will be in jeopardy. It's not fear-mongering. It's the truth. I did not know that the Republicans in the House and Senate were going to be able to pass a bill that would ban abortion, and that the Democrat in the White House would be like, thumbs up, dude. Let's make this happen.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it works, that if Republicans have even a bare majority, they can just push through any legislation they want past the president. That's how our system works.
You might be able to get it past this president.
You know what's really frustrating,
You're gonna have Kevin McCarthy on the other side of the room with an ice cream cone going, Mr. President.
They
trying to make it work.
They have taken that Social Security and Medicare thing and just run with it as far as they can go, based on, I think, flippant comments from a Rick Scott proposal, who's not even in charge of any sort of committee or anything in the Senate, that he made about Medicare and or Social Security about a year ago. They have no legs. Mitch McConnell has already said, if I'm the majority leader, we're not even focusing on that at all.
Completely.
But nobody cares.
And that's my whole point, which is why I wanted to make sure we got Scooter's comment on here, is that the people who support Democrats for office want to tell you, you think it's bad now? Elect Republicans. Here's my question to you. Think of the last years that you had a Republican in office, and think of the last 2 years that you've had Democrats in office. I believe you're smart enough to make that decision and not by the fear baiting that Scooter and other people who are advocating for Democrats to be in office. You don't have to be afraid of what will happen if Republicans get into office if you can compare adequately what happens if Democrats are in office. This is what happens. And it sucks. So vote accordingly. Let's get back to Debbie. Debbie was speechless before, but we got her back on the phone. Debbie, thanks for calling back in. What do you think? What's your strongest emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope?
I think excitement. I'm pretty excited about it. I think a lot of people veered off the beaten path, so to speak, and I believe I know I have a lot of liberal friends, and they're doing a turnaround.
Yeah. I
have a number on them.
Well, that's great, Debbie. Great to hear. And excitement. I hear the excitement in her voice this time around. She got herself back here on the line with us. We appreciate that. Let's get to Kathy. Kathy, thank you for calling the Annie Frey Show. Good to have you here.
Hey, I just want to let you know that I feel pretty confident. I'm a Missouri resident now, but all my life I lived in Illinois. And I saw all kinds. I'm confident that Bailey and the Republicans are going to get in. And I wanted to let you know that there's all kinds of advertisements up in northern Illinois and even in Hardin, Illinois.
Really?
Which is, close.
Well, maybe the focus is going there. That's a good point. Kathy, I appreciate that point, that maybe the ad dollars that are being spent on Bailey's campaign, people are coming into our show saying, why am I not seeing any advertisements for this? If they're consolidating their money, and I do know this with personal conversations with Darren Bailey himself about how much focus and effort they are doing to compete in Cook County. And the experience that they have when they go to events in Cook County is very warm and welcoming.
Good.
He's actually lived up there for the last, I think, couple months, maybe even longer. They got a condo up there so they could focus on that. That means Southern Illinois has to show up.
I was going to say, yeah, downstate has to show up.
His grassroots is here. And basically what he's saying is, I'm counting on you, Southern Illinois, to do what I'm hoping that the grassroots has said that they will do, and to go compete. And he needs to compete in Chicago. So many people in Illinois get so frustrated with Chicago. If you have hope that the state of Illinois could be straightened out, which to many people who are listening right now, especially in Missouri, you're laughing at me right now. I get it. It's a passion for me to try to fight for this to be a better place. And I understand if you're on the other side of the river, how silly that looks. Like, I'm pretty aware of that, but I'm still going to fight for it because it still matters to me. I understand why it doesn't matter to other people, and I respect people's decision to get the heck out of Illinois when they choose that that's what's right for their family. However, I will also say that Illinois, the powerhouse that the state of Illinois could be, only involves Chicago. You cannot be the powerhouse in Illinois and dismiss what Chicago is. If you actually have hope that Illinois could get going in the right direction, that has to include getting Chicago going in the right direction. And if you feel like Chicago is hopeless, then Illinois is hopeless. And there are a lot of people who do. Let's get to Mike right now on the line. Mike, thanks for calling the Annie Frey Show.
Yeah, hey, I'm worried, very worried and fearful because no one has been held accountable for the things that went on in 2020, changing election laws. No one's been held accountable for Russian collusion, and I just think the Democrats are going to keep pulling things because no one's held accountable for anything they do. They can just do anything they want, and absolutely no one's held accountable.
Yeah. Mike, thank you for the phone call. I appreciate it. I know a lot of people feel that way. Art on the Annie Frey YouTube channel commented, speaking of fear, is there a reason we're not discussing the Durham decision? The shocker that was that Igor Danchenko was found not guilty on, I think it was 6 counts of lying to the FBI. We have said on this show, we've continued, we'll cover that tomorrow for sure with Hans von Spakovsky. That's when we usually have our legal conversations. But Art, I'll speak about it right now. The idea that in a Washington, D.C. court that Igor Danchenko was found innocent kind of goes to what Mike just said. I'm not sitting here. I would fall off my chair if they were like, yeah, he lied to the FBI. We're throwing him in the pen. That would blow my mind. It has been said throughout the course of this, of the multiple cases that he's going to bring into court, that this is about something bigger than Sussman or Danchenko. It's bigger than that. And to Mike's point, we do have to get a Republican majority in the House in order to investigate these things and to have the hearings that I believe do need to happen in order to bring the truth to light. And I actually do believe I'm not as skeptical, I would say, that the Republicans are. I think they're going to be able to pull off the House, no problem. Knock on wood. But I think that one of the main reasons why they need to do that is so that they can have those hearings so we can get back to a system where justice is blind, because it certainly isn't right now. Should we talk about the Durham decision more?
I mean, you kind of just covered it. So there is, the implications of it are wide. The decision itself, I mean, you just explained it. It's unfortunate because there's a little crap storm, little tornado in Washington, D.C. that just protects anything coming at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't step outside of Washington, D.C., that's why Durham tried to use different courts if he could, but a lot of these things didn't take place outside of D.C.
Yeah.
So he had to use D.C. courts, and they just protect themselves. It's very, very corrupt.
One last thing here before we go, because I do want to address the comment from Art about the Durham probe and the Durham loss in court yesterday. He says, for those keeping score at home, I believe it's Durham 0 and Mueller 8, saying that Mueller was right 8 times and Durham has not won once. Show me where Donald Trump colluded with Russia, because that's where the whole damn thing began. Show me where he colluded with Russia. If the lies weren't accepted and peddled by a sycophant media, none of this happens. They did what they needed to do to disparage a man who was running for president, who was campaigning, who got elected. They ruined his entire presidency because it was all under the veil of that. Show me where he colluded with Russia. Then we'll talk. We'll take a quick break. Wiggins America in a minute.
You just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start.
This week marks 22 years as St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk. We know you won't hear it all, so we're highlighting as it happens on the socials. Follow 97.1 on Twitter and Facebook and weigh in. They can't ban all of us.
Michael's Flooring Outlet, online at igotfloored.com. Your friends at Michael's Flooring Outlet, supporting 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk for years and years and years. And we love sending you to Michael's Flooring Outlet because we trust them. We trust them to give you the quality, the value, and the customer experience that you expect when you are investing your money into your home and choosing the place that earns your business. They have the best brands. They have the best staff. They have the ability to show you the different products that you might want to purchase, so that when you go into Michael's Flooring Outlet, one of their locations, you have the ability to touch, feel, walk on, experience that flooring that you were looking to purchase. They have flooring that is going to accommodate different kinds of needs. If you have allergies and you want a hypoallergenic brand of carpet like a Mohawk Smart Strand, they've got that for you. If you want a hardwood look and you want something that is going to have a different level of maintenance, they've got that for you as well. Multiple locations, all their times, your ability to get an estimate, whether it's residential or commercial, all on their website at igotfloored.com.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-782-8000 or at chrisbuyshomesaintlouis.com and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses, even the tenant won't pay their rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. And check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And get the offer you have been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in stlouis.com. Chris Buys Homes in stlouis.com. Or call 314-782-8000.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Updating your home with James Hardie siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin Windows and Doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It was not the vest that had the internet abuzz. It was those fantastic shiny white boots that stole the show. Became a bonanza for internet jokester. Immediately, DeSantis and his boots made for walking was compared to Nancy Sinatra. The Photoshop troublemakers got in on the action too, imagining the governor as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins! Who was that talking?
That was somebody on MSNBC. But that's been the only reporting really on Hurricane Ian at all. And DeSantis is those boots. And it's a funny thing. I'm not
I haven't
saying
even seen his boots and I like them.
You haven't seen the white boots?
No.
Oh, really? Oh, that's been a meme. That's been going around. Yeah,
white.
DeSantis
I've been
white
busy
boots.
with stupid tires on my car.
Yeah, this is within the last couple weeks.
DeSantis boots. All right, carry on.
There you go. So he's got these white boots on, and people are, oh man, they're squeaky clean. You haven't even gotten dirty. That's been pretty much the only reporting on DeSantis, on Florida, on Hurricane Ian recovery is just that. And I mean, I give him credit. Like, it's a funny meme because he does look kind of funny in those boots.
I don't like the boots on him.
Right? I mean, it's funny.
I like 99% of the things about Ron DeSantis now. It's been lowered.
Yeah. The boots are not made for walking. They're made for cleaning.
I also,
very, very
I was going to say,
shiny.
I also don't care what boots he wears.
Exactly.
In general.
Exactly. I mean, that's been kind of
How is the recovery going?
Is that it has gone so well that the only thing you've heard out of the news is about Ron DeSantis' boots, apparently, because there is nothing negative to report, because if there was, you can bet you would hear about it. The only other news story that's kind of cracked the public consciousness is some of the bridges that have connected. You've been to Florida. We've all been to Florida, especially on the coasts. It's swampy, it's marshland, so there are islands, a lot of islands, that are only connected to the mainland by a bridge or a couple of bridges. And when those things go down, they got to get those back up real fast to even get supplies to even start the fixing of those communities. So they have focused on bridges and been way ahead of schedule. The Pine Island Bridge was kind of the one that kind of made the biggest headlines last Thursday. 3 days. That's all it took. And this thing, if you saw pictures of it, you'd think there's no way that thing was coming back.
Well, yeah, I remember them talking about how, like, this is going to be months and months and months before they have this bridge open. They're like, and it's open.
Yeah, 3 days. And most of them have been way ahead of schedule. So a few stats here just to share, since really nobody's talking about this stuff. There have been 2,500 rescues made to date. They've created a first responder support line that focuses on mental health. Casey DeSantis has been doing a lot of that work, at least at the top. 100 pets have been rescued through air operations. That's just kind of fun. More than 14 million meals, 51 million bottles of water have been distributed. Here's the key. Here's one of the keys that I really wanted to point out here. 2.4 million hot meals have been served since volunteer kitchens opened. And that is one of the greatest things that not only do you see after natural disasters, but we are seeing after this one. And this is a widespread disaster. This isn't just one tornado. This is a widespread thing that's affected millions and millions of people. They have had so many people volunteering. And over the weekend, DeSantis was in Flagler County. He's been on the ground everywhere, surveying, getting briefs and things like that. But yesterday, Casey DeSantis, along with Ron from afar, announced that they have received from private entities. This is what's so exciting. Private donations. The Florida Disaster Fund has raised over $45 million.
It's amazing.
To support people. And that, not to say there's no government money coming into this, but there has been so many people donating their money from outside of Florida even, and so many people in Florida contributing to this, that everything, and I could read stat after stat, it's all going very well and very much ahead of schedule.
Yeah, if Ron DeSantis was fumbling this in any way, shape, or form, that would be a lead story. Because the opportunity to dunk on Ron DeSantis that's prime real estate right now for people who are in agenda-driven media reporting. And if you watch how Ron DeSantis handles the media, he's very good at conveying his message and knowing the people who I'm talking to, they're not going to like what I'm saying, but I will be in charge of my message. I will not be pushed into or around the issues so that they can use me for their means to an end. He's very effective at communicating his message with confidence in a way that suggests the people I'm talking to are going to hate what I say right now. Let me make sure I'm crystal clear. I think that that's admirable. There are Democrats who are able to do the same thing. I think that the thing that is most compelling to me about Ron DeSantis' politics is he speaks to the people. He doesn't speak to the press. He uses the press to speak to the people. And I don't think that that's a skill that a lot of people have.
Well, what's neat in looking into this, because like I said, there are just so many different stats and angles you could look at the recovery from Hurricane Ian. What you've seen is that, we all knew DeSantis is really good at handling the press and handling his own narrative. What you're seeing right now is he's actually a good governor. And that's not always the same thing. You could have people who are really good at campaigning, but then once they get in charge...
His campaign is his governorship.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So one more stat here that I wanted to point out that is, to me, one of the key indicators that things are going pretty well. All mainland power has been restored way ahead of schedule. I mean, you saw the pictures. All power has been restored. Some of the islands that are harder to get to, that's what they're focusing on now. But if you're on the mainland, it's all back.
GWIB says on the YouTube live chat, I hear they have the bridge rebuilt already. Is that what you were referring to a little bit earlier about the...
It's one of the bridges. Now, the Sanibel Causeway repair is one that's making headlines a little more recently. The one I was talking about is a couple weeks old now. But yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. It's bridge after bridge that they're focused on because they have to get things done.
You know what else I appreciate about Ron DeSantis is his ability to call scoreboard. And I'm a huge fan. So this is a subjective comment that I'm going to try to put myself objectively in. And I'm admitting to you that as somebody who is a big fan of Ron DeSantis, that's a difficult task. But I feel like his words and his actions stand for himself. Like I was saying, his governorship is his campaign. I don't really see him taking public opportunities outside of maybe a press conference that he calls outside of a hurricane situation. It doesn't seem like he's using this to show everybody how great he is. He's saying, watch me work, see what I can do, watch me lead. I'm capable. And it seems as though he has been.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for reporting on that. When we come back, Deroy Murdock and our friend Joe Concha in the next hour. Don't go away.
The best conversations happen at the kitchen table. So I'm bringing the table to you.
All around our communities, Ann Wagner is meeting with us and hearing our concerns.
Public servants need to listen to you, not the liberal mob. People care about kitchen table issues, like the skyrocketing prices of groceries and gas. And now Biden has you paying for someone else's college loans. Let's stop their madness.
This year, Biden's inflation is costing your home over $10,000. Ann Wagner has seen the harm it's brought to Missouri families firsthand. She knows you work too hard to have your tax dollars wasted by Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. That's why Ann has a long record of cutting your taxes and fighting the Democrats' out-of-control spending.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message to give you a seat at the table.
Common sense conservative, Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Hey, this is Wiggins. If you go to Andrea's Steakhouse and you love the taste of their steak or any protein that you get there, because they do serve chicken and they do serve fish there as well, you can take that taste home with you. And it is really not something it's unique, but it's not off the radar. It's almost as if this is the way a steak was supposed to taste the whole time. So it's a brush-on steak sauce. You take that home with you. And like I said, you can put it on not just steak. You can put it on poultry. You can put it on fish. You can make it in stews. This is a great time of year. A lot of people starting to make the soups, and it's a great additive into soups, and it thickens it a little bit and adds a taste that maybe somebody can't quite put their finger on. So get a bottle of Andrea's Brush On steak sauce. That's how you use it. We use it on pork tenderloin in the oven quite a bit too. So there's multiple ways you can use it, but get a bottle at multiple locations, including the restaurant and at Andreas.com, but also at area grocery stores like Schnucks, Straub's, and Dierberg's. But once again, the easiest, Andreas.com.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
President Biden says he gets it on Lisa Brady, Fox News, that he knows it's painful when gas prices go up. And while they've been declining lately,
they're not falling fast enough. Families are hurting.
So he's selling another 15 million barrels of oil from the strategic reserves.
Independent analysts have confirmed that drawdowns from the reserves so far have played a big role in bringing down oil prices, bringing them down.
And he rejects Republican criticism. He's playing politics with something intended for emergencies.
It's not politically motivated at all. It's motivated to make sure that I continue to push on what I've been pushing on.
He says that's making sure there's enough domestic supply while also moving toward alternative energy. Former Vice President Mike Pence just telling Fox News gas prices are higher because of the president's war on energy.
And I think the reason in 20 days you're going to see the American people take back the House, take back the Senate, take back state houses around the country is because they know better. They know the pathway to American energy independence is to unleash American energy.
President Biden today also announcing a plan to buy back oil to restock the reserves when the price falls to a certain range. The U.S. Oil and Gas Association president says the White House has taken dozens of actions that will make it harder to produce that oil. The president also just answering a shouted question about Russia's president declaring martial law in the 4 regions of Ukraine he claims to have annexed.
I think that Vladimir Putin finds himself in an incredibly difficult position.
He says it seems Putin's only tool is to brutalize Ukrainian citizens into capitulating, which President Biden says they will not do. The State Department, meantime, calling the martial law declaration today a desperate tactic. America is listening to Fox News.
Yes, missed you this morning. Kim told me you weren't feeling well, so I'm just doing a self-care check.
Oh, thank you, friend.
How you doing?
Girl, listen, my energy was so low because I didn't eat breakfast when I got up, so I had to miss virtual yoga with y'all.
Trust me, I understand.
But I'm doing much better now that I've eaten, so I'm back on track.
Great. In that case, let's get some steps in tonight. I'll come over and we can walk around the lake.
Sounds good. Appreciate you being in my business, too. Now, let me get in yours. Did you check your blood pressure today?
I did that and my squats, okay?
Okay.
High blood pressure is not going to be my friend if I can help it. See you at 6?
Let's get it. See you then.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Check in on one another and be a part of a healthy blood pressure movement. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Temperatures remain a good 15 degrees below average. Sunny and chilly going through the afternoon.
52, that's it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 40s this evening, 33 for the low. Thursday, sunshine, obviously a cold start, but 68 Thursday afternoon. Friday, sunny, 75. The weekend, sunshine, 78 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Overall, inflation was 2% over the last 3 months. That's down from 11% over the prior 3 months. That's progress.
It could be another easy 20%.
Joe Biden's approval rating on inflation, rising costs, as you say, among independents is 21%. Everybody knows which party controls Washington right now.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon and 97.1 FM Talk with the St. Louis Odyssey stations will once again partner with you to raise funds for SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's all part of the annual Tree of Hope campaign. And with your help and the help of our sponsors, we've raised over $170,000 the past 2 years. If you own a business and would be interested in partnering with us to increase donations for this year's campaign, please sign up at 971talk.com/Cardinal Glennon or text the word HOPE to 20357. That's 20357.
Guys, Glover here with my friends at ThrottleNet. These are the genius IT guys that I've been representing for years and years now. We are number one all the time. Best in customer service from Small Business Monthly. Best in cybersecurity, again, Small Business Monthly. We have an average response time. I love this statistic. The average response time in St. Louis in 2020 by IT companies. You have a problem, you reach out to them, hey, I'm all shut down, help me, was 3 hours. If you got back within 3 hours, you were cool. Ours was 1 minute, 57 seconds, and the guys were very unhappy with that. It takes less than 2 minutes for us to address your problems. Here's a huge thing. We are now offering $500,000 in ransom protection to everyone who uses us. This is part of the deal. You don't pay extra for it. So if you happen to be hit and you have to pay, we're going to pay it up to $500,000. Now, this shows you how confident we are because no one under our protection has ever had to pay. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Business is difficult right now, putting a lot of good workers at risk. If you're a business that needs flexibility with your workforce and don't want to lose your best employees, go to sharedwork.mo.gov and see what the Missouri Department of Labor can do for you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Again, the bottom line continues to be true. Republicans need a net gain of 1 seat if they're going to get control of the Senate. Right now, on average, they lead in 1 Democratic-held seat. That's Nevada. Adam Laxalt continues to lead. Catherine Cortez Masto. Were that to hold, that would be a net gain there for Republicans. But Democrats right now, again, continue to be able to counter that. There is 1 Republican-held seat, Pennsylvania. This is Pat Toomey retiring, where John Fetterman, the Democrat, continues to lead in the polling average here over Mehmet Oz. I should note, though, the big trend in this race, you see Fetterman 3.4. August 1st, if you went back and looked at the poll average in Pennsylvania, it was Fetterman 8.7. So that has come down considerably, more than 5 points since then.
So that's MSNBC, folks. That's not a Fox News suggestion that maybe things are moving in the Republican direction. There is a shift changing right now. You've heard Democrats who have said that maybe they peaked a little bit too early with the Roe v. Wade overturning in the Supreme Court. But there is a shift happening right now that points us 20 days out of the midterm that suggests that Republicans are gaining the ground they're going to need to secure a successful midterm election. What are the Democrats doing in reaction to this? How are they positioning themselves going into this midterm election? Are they doubling down on the far left progressive policies that the Democratic Party has defined themselves to own? Or are they trying to make a different pitch to the voter here in the bottom of the 9th inning? Well, let's talk to our friend Deroy Murdock about it. Nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor, weekly guest here on the Andy Frey Show. Deroy, welcome back. Always a pleasure to speak with you.
Oh, Andy, it's great to be with you again.
So you're watching as, you know, the talking heads are saying this is going a little bit in the Republicans' favor. What are you noticing about Democrats, their reaction to this, how they're working to manipulate or to maneuver votes going into this election? What are they doing?
Well, I think pretty much one word, abortion. I said to someone the other day, maybe let's just change the name of the party from the Democrat Party to the Abortion Party. That just seems to be about the only thing they bring up. I was walking through Newark Airport today, coming back from a trip to Las Vegas, and MSNBC happened to be on the screen, and the anchor was interviewing somebody there and said, enough about the economy. Let's talk about abortion. I mean, it was just perfect. I mean, it's exactly what you've seen happening here. They seem to be stuck on pretty much one note. And if anybody's looking for any actual solutions to things like high gas prices, like crime, like the whole situation in classrooms where kids are being exposed to drag queen story hour and critical race theory and gender studies, as opposed to basic things like how to write a sentence or how to do basic multiplication, subtraction, addition, and subtraction, and division, that sort of thing. They are really kind of focused on their far left agenda. I don't see them moving to the center very much, other than sort of rhetorically saying they're moderates and centrists, which they're not in terms of anything regarding policy or reforms.
Well, we have today on our YouTube live stream, we always have a live chat poll up, and it's what's your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? What would you say you are feeling right now, 20 days out from this really, really historical midterm election that is upon us?
I would say I probably feel a certain sense of somewhat cautious optimism, but I very much temper that with a reminder to myself and everybody else listening to our voices right now. Nothing in terms of victory is going to take place unless all of us do the hard work that is required to win. Knocking on doors, making phone calls, registering to vote, going to show up to vote, bring people to vote, etc. I think some people, unfortunately, have the sense that this is, we already won, it's in the bag, it's taken care of. No, it's not. This is not going to be taken care of until all the ballots are cast and counted, we hope, honestly, although that's a big if. And I think there's also, unfortunately, this notion a friend of mine expressed the other day, well, why bother voting? The Democrats are going to cheat and steal it, and my ballot won't be counted. Look, if you cast your ballot, there is a chance that it won't be counted if there's some cheating or whatever, but I promise you this, if you don't vote and you don't cast a ballot, they're definitely not going to count the ballot you didn't cast. So if you're all interested in seeing all the nonsense we're enduring either be tempered or stopped, you need to register to vote if you're not registered. Show up at the polls, bring your friends, bring your family, bring your neighbors, bring your friends and loved ones, and make sure they vote too. And, if we have a squeak through to a positive election, great. If we have a landslide, that's even better. But everybody who is interested in ending the crime, the inflation, the illegal immigration, everything else needs to get out there between now, hopefully on November 8th, or if you are one of those early voting people, do it early. But I think voting on Election Day has a lot of advantages for a lot of reasons. But, go out and vote, and just sitting back and watching is not going to do it. And don't assume there's any victory in there, because nothing has been won until it's actually been captured.
I agree with that. Deroy Murdock with us right now. He's a Fox News contributor. He's a member of Project 21 as well. I'm curious about your thoughts on the abortion issue specifically, because there is a suggestion that Republicans are extreme on this issue. I live in the state of Illinois. We have passed partial birth abortion. It's been removed from the restrictions of what can take place in the state of Illinois. You can, in fact, have an abortion legally the morning that you would naturally deliver a child. Now, the response I get from Democrats in my own state, they say, Annie, that doesn't happen. That's so incredibly rare. Deroy, why did the Democrats in the state of Illinois find it so important to make sure it was still legal if it doesn't happen?
Very good point. If it's so rare, why did they decide to protect it? And whether it's rare or not, why would the Democrats or anybody say, look, if you wanted an abortion, you couldn't do it in the first, second, or third, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or seventh, or eighth month. You're going to wait till the ninth month, and finally decide, this baby that's 99% at its size when it's going to be born, it's time to have an abortion now. Even you go to Europe, you go to countries like Sweden, you go to countries like France, which are pretty liberal countries with big kind of socialist governments, very, very large commitment to public activism in part of everyone's lives. You can't get an abortion after the first trimester, as far as I know. Certainly not a partial birth abortion right at the time the baby would be delivered naturally. I think the most radical countries for abortion in the world, if I remember correctly, are North Korea, Cuba, and the United States of America, where, you can go get an abortion, I guess, after you've started going to labor. I think that's extraordinary. And why the Democrats think it's a good idea, and as you say, pass laws to protect that.
And boy, isn't that extreme? I mean, if you want to talk about a political party and a line where each party is on this issue, just like you're indicating, globally speaking on this specific issue, the American Democratic Party is more extreme on this issue than the most extreme countries in the world. And that's just a fact.
Yeah, that's right. It's absolutely correct. And I think what the GOP ought to do on this issue, among others, is we ought to be talking about adoption reform. Somebody made a very good comment. I didn't know this until today. Aaron Judge, who broke the record for home runs that Roger Maris had, 61 home runs in the regular season. He got that up to 62 as a member of the New York Yankees. He's adopted. Imagine if his mom had said, I don't really want to have this baby. I'll just go to Planned Parenthood and kill Aaron Judge. The beauty we saw just last couple weeks ago of him breaking that record that goes back 60 years wouldn't have happened. Put another way, which baseball player who could have done something even more impressive wasn't born and didn't have the opportunity to do that because that baby got aborted? So we got to make it as easy for people to adopt kids as they can. And I think if that is an option, I think women who get pregnant and don't want their babies might think, well, okay, I will have the baby, and then somebody else will adopt it. And if it means that those people get involved early on and help pay for prenatal care, help that mother with her medical visits, perhaps provide income to make up for any losses she might have from either not working, not going to school, whatever it is. Let's try to develop that sort of a system as an alternative to abortion. That's something the GOP ought to be pushing. And I wish we'd talk more about that and less about just, leave it to the states, and these other kind of legalistic arguments.
Yeah, $500 million of federal taxpayer dollars go to fund Planned Parenthood. What if the Republican policy on this was to take a strong voice, a strong effort to talking about how to support that woman and that baby post-birth, because that's generally speaking one of the biggest questions and criticisms from the left on abortion. They say Republicans just want the baby to be born. They don't care after it. I mean, if we want to have that conversation, I can be like, but the Democrats don't want the baby to be born. How is that your argument? That doesn't even make sense to me. But the Republicans do miss the mark, in my opinion, often when they are handed power and not actually doing anything active about it. You can't just point at the other guy in the campaign and say, well, we're not nearly as bad as they are, so vote us in. And then what? Do you believe that the Republicans, given a strong mandate in this midterm election coming up, have policies in place that they can effectively put into place that will benefit the American people?
Well, I give credit to Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans for putting together what they call a commitment to America, which lays out sort of a path to what their policy reforms will be coming up in January, if in fact they win the House. I wish it were referred to specific pieces of legislation as opposed to general objectives, but at least they do have a sense of general objectives that they want to implement in terms of reducing spending, crime reform, trying to get the border under control and things of this kind. All of them positive, all of them things that would help this country. So that's terrific. And so my hope is if they get in, they will be very energetic and focused and actually accomplish something rather than just sort of sit there and enjoy the trappings of power. I also hope that they are not cowed by the regime media, by social media, et cetera. If they say, oh, well, we don't like what you're doing or this bill is racist, they say, you know what, we won, we need to fix this country, it's a mess, go away. And not think, oh, my God, the New York Times might write some nasty editorials, let's go hide. Who cares what those people say? These people are never going to agree with the Republicans on anything. Just ignore them and move forward, and don't sit there and burst into tears because somebody at the Washington Post is upset about something happening on the Senate floor.
Well, Deroy Murdock, we are always honored to be able to spend some time with you. We appreciate that you give it to us here in St. Louis, and we look forward to speaking to you again pretty soon. It's going to be Election Day, and boy, I hope we have a lot to celebrate after that.
I hope so, too. Very good. And until then, work hard to make it happen.
Amen. Amen. Step up right now. Deroy Murdock, thank you so much. Nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor. How do Missouri and Illinois fit into the red wave to take the United States House? Steve Scalise joins us Thursday at 2 p.m. Make sure that you're there with us to hear that interview. I'm excited to talk to Steve Scalise about the commitment to America that we just heard Deroy talking about. It's a very important part of this whole thing to have a plan going forward. Brad, I don't feel like the Republicans have been able to have a policy-based plan for a long time.
Yeah, it seems like their plan for the longest time has just been like, let's clean up after the angry stuff that Donald Trump has said.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get to talk policy as much, even though under the Trump administration, they entered the policy, they did the policy, they could point to the scoreboard and say, look how awesome everything is.
People knew, too.
Mm-hmm.
People knew. And I'll tell you what, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, I'll say it again after that. But the idea that we have prosperity in this free market capitalistic society that lets us casually dabble in the idea of socialism, know where that comes from. And if you feel in your heart that we should give more because we're such a prosperous nation, don't forget how you became a prosperous nation. And above all else, don't think that you have to wait for the government to step in to help someone in order to help somebody. Let's take a quick break. A reminder, you can go to the Annie Frey YouTube live chat in our live video broadcast right now. We want to know how you feel. What's your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Is it excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? Let us know how you feel after you vote. You can leave us a comment. Hannah will highlight those at 2:45. And when we come back, Joe Concha on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be right back.
But I don't care. I'd do anything, anywhere. Yes, you got me in the palm of your hand.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk.
97.1 is your place for full Decision 2022 coverage.
Decision 2022.
Sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes on 97.1 FM Talk.
Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy. So many people are looking at their economic situation right now. I know I am. I've used the bagel loan twice with Stewie. Well, the first time was to get a much lower rate because remember when we were just talking over and over and over about historical low rates, get it now. Hopefully you did at that point. If you didn't, then maybe your rate isn't as low as some of those other people who refinanced at that time. But here's the other end of this cycle. The idea that rates on everything else have gone up, your debt, your credit card debt. Are you looking at your credit card debt right now going, I don't really know how I'm going to get out of this? And you just keep tagging that credit card because prices for everything else is going up. If you've thought about a refinance on your home because the equity is there and you can refinance, pay off that high interest credit card debt with the equity in your home, when you use the bagel loan, you're not going to pay any fees that other lenders out there are going to charge you for. And the beauty about the bagel loan is that if rates go down again in a year or two or whenever, you can refinance again and secure that lower rate once it hits. Reach out to Stewie and ask him how he can help you. He will tell you exactly what he can do to help you, how it works, and he'll tell you if he can't help you. He's honest. He's always honest with me. I know he will be with you as well. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his 4th. But you know what they say, 4th time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Oh, what you know, Joe?
I don't know nothing.
What you know, Joe?
Tell me something.
What you know, Joe?
Ain't conniving, just ain't jiving. I don't know what.
The right that I pushed hard and it finally got changed. The married couples in the privacy of their bedroom. Excuse me. I'm thinking about the Dobbs decision. Imagine. Well, I'll get to that in a second.
Oh my gosh.
I should listen to these things before I air them. I see the headlines, I don't listen to it, and then I hear it on the air and I can't contain my little chuckle there. You know, we used to play the song What You Know Joe for Joe Concha. Now it's What You Know Joe to Joe Biden, and it just hits you a little bit differently. Political columnist at The Hill, Fox News contributor, and author of the book, Come On, Man, the truth about Joe Biden's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad presidency. Joe, the sequel to your book is writing itself already.
You're like the 9th person to tell me that in the past week. Like, boy, you already have enough to get at least 7 chapters.
No kidding.
Between seeing dead people and then just... Is he reading a prompter there, too? I mean, how hard could that be? right?
Apparently a little, at least, at minimum. Joe, when you've studied this, your book is about Joe Biden. It is about a lot of the gaffes and the actual man who is the president of the United States. Let me ask you a serious question here for a minute. When you hear the president speaking like this, when you find out that Jill Biden is mad, it's just out yesterday that Jill Biden was mad in January about the president's last solo press conference in January. Are you concerned for the country?
You have to be, right? Because you got to understand that, and I think most people do, that Jill Biden sees Joe Biden more than anybody, talks to him more than anybody. Of course, she's his wife. We only get little glimpses of Joe Biden, right, in these very homogenized, packaged events. Most of the time he's whisked off the stage. And he would always say this, and it was always so odd and awkward to listen to her. He'd say, whenever a reporter be asking a question after he's done making some sort of canned speech, he'll say, I better get out of here. I'm going to get in trouble. In trouble by whom? I always thought was a wrong claim. No, it's Joe Biden saying, get off there. Do not take any questions. And that's the thing. When he was vice president, symbolic position. Who cares if Joe Biden makes a gaffe? He really doesn't have any power, per se, because Barack Obama didn't even listen to him. And then when he was a senator, he was one of 100 guys in a chamber, so he didn't have a lot of power there. Now he runs the country. And that's why, yes, to answer your serious question, that's why it should be concerning for everybody when his own wife knows that every time he speaks outside of a teleprompter, it's going to be a cleanup not only on aisle 5, but 6, 17, and 20.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now. He is author of the book, Come On, Man, The Truth About Joe Biden's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Presidency. I want to ask you, in your study of this man and how he has carried himself, he has a few phrases you might be able to add to this. He says, I mean it. He says, he's not joking. I'm serious. No, really. He interjects this when he starts telling stories. And the stories sometimes have details that shift along the way. Is that a tell for you when the president of the United States inserts one of these phrases?
Here's the deal is definitely a tell before that comes. Let's see. Here's the bottom line. Come on, man, before he gets angry and gives some sort of answer. Yeah, that's usually you're like, okay, we're about to go down some sort of Brian Williams rabbit hole where he's going to tell a story about how he put the Medal of Honor on a guy who saved somebody in Afghanistan when no, that never actually happened. Or when he says that, I got arrested trying to meet Nelson Mandela in South Africa at the height of apartheid. No, that never happened. Or when he said he got arrested during civil rights marches when he was younger. No, that never happened. So he tells these stories, I think, because he's so insecure about his own accomplishments that he feels he has to create them to put himself up on some sort of level that makes him great. The problem is they're so easy to fact check that these things could be dismissed right away. But the problem with the fact check is the fact checkers are currently on a 2-year vacation, apparently, because the CNN guy, Daniel Dale, who used to be on the air every day, sometimes multiple times a day during the Trump era, this guy, you'll find Liz Cheney at Mar-a-Lago before you find that guy in the air. Okay, he's not fact-checking. And Kareem Jean-Pierre, right, who had the audacity to say that, well, families are saving hundreds of dollars at the pump and $420 million overall. She said this yesterday when gas prices are skyrocketing again. I just saw here in New Jersey we're getting close to $5, and she hasn't been fact-checked once. So he says these things and gets away with them largely outside of the Annie Frey show and Fox News because the people that are supposed to be checking power and saying that's not right, that's not true, it's false, they're all protecting him because they aren't journalists, they're activists, Annie.
Yeah, that is so true. And, what happens, Joe Concha, after this November election? The Republicans will very, very likely take the House. What happens in the Senate? Looks like the Republicans might be able to gain a seat. It could be big. Maybe it'll stay split. Maybe the Democrats will pull something out and it'll shock all of us. But if the Republicans do get those majorities and put a hamper on his ability to pass Nancy Pelosi-like bills through the House and get it through Congress, something in the media is going to have to shift. And you've spent a lot of time in the media writing and being on television as well. What do you expect to see? Sans Trump. Trump won't be on the scene until he does or doesn't decide to run for president. What are they going to do to cover this presidency paired with a non-favorable Congress?
We're already seeing the tell on that front, speaking of tells. If Republicans win, then suddenly this election will be declared illegitimate, which is supposed to be a really, really chilling thing for democracy. But, we'll hear about how now democracy is in peril, the Republicans are in power. And they'll still go with that same playbook. I don't know if they're going to go to back to doing their jobs, and they haven't done their jobs in sometimes in terms of talking about inflation and gas prices and the border and education and so on. So they'll find a boogeyman of some kind, I guess. I mean, they tried it with DeSantis for a while. But I think the problem is if we want to just get back to normal and just cover things the way they should, the election's going to start. I'm talking about the presidential election, Annie, in January of 2023. And we know this because Kamala Harris had announced in January of 2019, right, nearly 2 years before the election, then everybody jumped in afterwards. In other words, once you get over the midterms, you're like, oh, boy, all right, we won't have an election for a while. Well, basically the campaigns start right after Christmas, right after New Year's. And Donald Trump most likely, I think, will announce that he's running for president at that time because you don't hold all these rallies just for fun. You're probably doing it because you're going to run for president. And again, you think you have some unfinished business. So once Trump jumps back in, then the focus all goes back in on him again. But let me finish this thought with this. After Republicans take back the House, and I believe they're going to take back the Senate as well, because in Georgia, for example, I don't know how you could have somebody like Governor Kemp up in most polls. I saw one outlier, but most polls, 5, 6, 7 points on Stacey Abrams. I don't know how anybody goes into a booth and says, I like Kemp, but I also like Warnock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you make that jump. It's usually almost down ballot. So I think Herschel Walker has an excellent chance there. I think Dr. Oz has completely closed the gap on Fetterman. If those two races go to the Republicans, then it's lights out and they have 51, 52, maybe even 53 seats. Now, all of that said, I had a thought here somehow. Oh, yeah, that's right. The media, you look over and over again, and all you hear about is January 6th and about Trump. And they're going to wonder, what happened? Where did this wave come from? Well, you missed it because you've been concentrating on the guy who hasn't been in office for 21 months instead of talking about the issues that people feel every day, what they pay for clothes, what they pay for gas, what they pay in their electric bills, especially in the winter when they're about to skyrocket. I'm telling you, they miss the boat again because they purposely do it because they don't have any other reflex except because they think they have some sort of moral authority to take down Donald Trump. Well, he's already down, all right?
Yeah.
He's not in office.
Yeah.
You might want to concentrate on the guy who is in office.
Exactly. Joe, you bring it every time. I'm glad that you mentioned Georgia. We were talking about that exact point yesterday, that if you look at the polling between Kemp and Stacey Abrams, it's pretty far apart. Like national, it's so far apart that the national media really isn't covering Stacey Abrams too much because it's embarrassing for them to look at how much Kemp, who is like an anti-Trump kind of in the Trump sphere of everybody's proximity towards Donald Trump because the earth does revolve around him, I've been told. To look at the Kemp Georgia race, there's a lot of distance there. Walker and Warnock in Georgia is much closer. But I want you to, for us, compare the coverage of the capabilities, especially pre-debate and post-debate, that people put on Herschel Walker and his ability to articulate himself and to handle the pressure of a debate, and then compare that to the lack of willingness to put Fetterman in Pennsylvania to that same standard.
Precisely. I mean, Fetterman will do a debate on October, I want to say 27th. That's just a couple of days before the election. He purposely did that because he wanted to try to rack up as many early votes as he could before people really saw him perform.
Smart political move.
Well, you know what? If I were Oz, I would have pressed him to have a debate every day.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing this sooner? Why Oz agreed to that a little bit too easily. So the criticism it goes both ways here a little bit. But once that debate happens and you see Fetterman looking at his screen like he did during the NBC interview, and the speech is kind of halting, and then when he actually articulates, his worldview, which is let's let 1/3 of the prison population out when crime is easily the number one issue in a place like Philadelphia. And when he talks about how great the Biden agenda is, then I think it's lights out for him. I think he's already slowly and surely going down, and I think that'll be the death knell. Now, as far as Walker is concerned, he completely outdid expectations with that particular debate with Raphael Warnock, to the point where if you watch The View, and God help you if you do, but let's say you see a clip from The View, you even saw Sonny Hostin saying that he thought that he did a good job. So Walker's in the catbird seat because, again, I just don't see in a red state like Georgia. I know, Biden won that by the skin of his teeth then, but, given the record now, given that Joe Biden's at something like 37, 36% approval in Georgia, I just don't see how suddenly Warnock, who's not a good candidate and not a good person, is going to win there. So I think Republicans are really, really looking good. And when this happens, boy, that's when the real pain begins for Democrats, with hearings, investigations, and Joe Biden's agenda completely and totally in the toilet. And then the finger pointing starts. And that's going to be, for us, Annie, the most entertaining part where the progressives like AOC say, you didn't go far left enough, and now you're paying the price.
Yep, keep saying those things out loud
delicious.
on camera and a microphone. Joe, the one last question I have for you, since we're talking a little bit about Georgia, is so much focus nationally has been on Georgia. Georgia had the opportunity to save the country and elect one Republican senator on two opportunities with that special election that took place after the November election. It took place on January 5th. People might have forgotten the proximity to that other big event in the country. January 5th, two Democrats elected in Georgia after a lot of questions about everything that was going on in Georgia, to people in Georgia who felt disenfranchised by the whole process. But they have since kind of borne a lot of the spotlight, in my opinion, in a very unfair, unsavory way, with allegations of being racists in Georgia from none other than Major League Baseball and Coca-Cola and these other places who all pointed. They're like, oh, we're all pointing at Georgia right now. Let's all get in here and virtue signal for everybody to see because they think it's good marketing. I have a feeling that Georgia is motivated to make a statement about who they really are, not who everybody's been saying that they are. And it's actually in the numbers showing in their early voting with their new voting laws, people are actually coming out in droves.
Annie, it's not a feeling, right? Because you just said it. It's actual data, raw data showing that record numbers of people are voting in Georgia, despite it being Jim Crow 2.0 and all these people apparently not being able to get to the polls and they're suppressed. And that's why Stacey Abrams has no shot of winning, because that is her issue. That's her signature issue, that people voting absolutely is broken in Georgia, and we need to have access 7 weeks before an election at 3 a.m. If I want to go through a drive-through and I want to vote, I can. People are like, look, it's one of the easiest things in the world to do. In Georgia now, people trust the system again because of the new laws that were passed. So I think that some Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters who felt disenfranchised on that January 5th, they're going to come back again and say, all right, this thing is fixed. Now we can move forward. And that's the thing about voting, and I'll leave it here. Florida and Ohio, you always get the results the night of an election, right? Because they run their elections correctly in those states. Pennsylvania, they do early voting, and they don't start counting the early votes until all the votes are in on election day. So then you always have this 5 or 6 day lapse, which always leads to suspicion. I don't know why they can't fix that. Maybe they just don't want to, but that needs to be fixed. And that's one of the reasons why you want to see Republicans running the state of Pennsylvania, because the current way it's run, it's completely broken. It's a shame. It's a nice state.
Joe Concha, you're on top of it all. We love your fire, and we always look forward to having you back. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you, Annie. I had to buy a fish steak because my other fish died, and I have to get home before my kids see the dead fish.
I love that dad story. I don't even know what you're talking about. Get home right now. You've got dad duty.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's got to replace the fish before the kids notice the fish was dead. Oh, man. Fox News contributor and political columnist at The Hill, author of the book, Come On, Man, The Truth About Joe Biden's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Presidency. Imagine writing that book and not even being 2 years into the presidency and having material to write the next one and the next one. I think he's onto something here. True American capitalism at its finest. Let's take a quick break. We've got some more Annie Frey show right around the corner, of course. Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. What is your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? We want to know what you think, what you're feeling. Go vote. And on the youtube.com/@AnnieFrey, Frey, you can vote in the live chat portion there and leave a comment for Hannah. She's watching for them as they all come in. You can say hi to her while you're there as well. We'll be back in just a minute on St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, stop your squawking, just ain't talking, 'cause I don't know.
22 years old and looking good. This is St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
On the next Mark Reardon Show, Ann Dorn will be with me in the studio. She's the widow of retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn, who was murdered 2 summers ago.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Vitae Foundation is excited to welcome Abby Johnson to St. Charles. October 27th is the event, and you need to get your tickets now before they are sold out. I'm going to host an MC that evening, and I cannot wait to meet you. I look forward to the opportunity to shake hands with anybody who's in that audience who listens to us here on the Annie Frey Show, 97.1 FM Talk. But Abby Johnson is going to be the speaker. I've never seen her speak in person. I've heard her talking on the national television show. She was on with us earlier this week. You can check the Annie Frey Show podcast as well if you'd like to hear that. But Abby Johnson was a former director of a Planned Parenthood. She knows how this game is played. She knows what the opposition, the people who are pro-abortion, not pro-choice, the people who are pro-abortion, who feed their families on it, what they're doing and saying in the situation where these women are coming to them with a choice to make. And she has an incredible message that you will not want to miss. October 27th, it's a Thursday, Abby Johnson at the Vitae Foundation's annual pro-life event in St. Charles. Please join us. I would love to see you there. You can find out all the details online at adsforlife.org.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
This month's Zero Res special. The more you clean, the more you save. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129 or 5 rooms starting at $199. A 43% savings. Take $75 off any air duct cleaning package. Call 314-474-2020 or go to ZeroResSTL.com.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org, and for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
22 years of questioning the narrative. It's our birthday week. Thanks for making 97.1 FM Talk your home for conservative talk.
Been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Hercules and his gifts, and Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fists. And clearly I don't see myself up on that list. But she said, where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
What's funny, I look at like Zeldin and I look at Kerry Lake. They're really good candidates. That's the other thing. I don't think they want to debate them because they know they'll get their kicked.
That's Greg Gutfeld talking about, some candidates that are very strong candidates running on the Republican ticket right now that would be very effective in the idea of a debate. Listening to Joe Concha, who was just on with us, and, talking about how Herschel Walker overperformed, they set the expectations for Herschel Walker incredibly low. I mean, there's an actual campaign out there suggesting that Herschel Walker's too dumb to be a senator.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. I still go back to, I think it's because of the way that he speaks. He has that Southern Georgian accent. I recognize that accent because my grandmother had that accent because she was from Savannah, Georgia. And listen, don't let accents fool you.
There's there's somebody stupid and ignorant in that equation, and it's not the person who has the accent. It's the person who hears the accent and assumes that about the person. Carrie Lake would eviscerate anybody in a debate about anything.
Yeah.
Because she commands the stage. That was her job as a TV anchor, to command your attention.
Yeah. They call it command presence. Police officers are trained in it, all sorts of things. But it's like when you talk to her or you hear her speaking or anything that she says, there's no doubt that she is the one that's in charge in that situation. And it's fantastic to listen to her.
Lee Zeldin is very equipped with the facts as well. He's very good at presenting himself. He's run and won campaigns before, so he knows how to compete. It's an instance where the skill to debate and to command attention does not make you a good leader or a good, it makes you a good candidate. But that doesn't mean you're going to be effective, per se, at whatever the job is. I think Ron DeSantis has that for sure as well. Donald Trump had that the most, is the ability to command people's attention. And the question was in 2016, does he have the substance to go represent the Republican Party and conservative values when he became the president? And we were like, well, the alternative is Hillary, so let's roll the dice on it. And then he did. And he never was able to present himself as a policy thought leader. The entire time that Donald Trump was in office, he was plagued by scandals and an unfair, biased media. And the interesting thing there is, like, probably happening right now as we speak, but somebody who is not a fan of Donald Trump would start listing off, do you think that the president should have been criticized when he this? Should the president have been criticized when he that? And the truth is that person who would come at you and say that, listing off specific things that would challenge your love and honor and respect for Donald Trump as the president, is not considering the fact that maybe the answer isn't always yes, and maybe the answer isn't always no. That there are things that President Donald Trump, that candidate Donald Trump did or said that you would criticize, that I would criticize. There are probably a host of things that are worthy of criticism, and the person who's in charge of representing all of the American people should always be susceptible to that criticism. The question is the criticism coming from a reactionary place or from a seed of hatred that grows and grows and grows to the point where when we are talking about anything on this show, inherently there's going to be somebody who comes up here and says, but Trump, on the live chat, in comments on social media, to me on Twitter. It happens without fail. Donald Trump is that important to the daily flow of his haters. And I just can't help but laugh at the fact that he's not, that intrinsic value that he has in your life does not exist for me and mine. Like, your hatred for him is not matched and balanced by my love for him.
Right.
I want a good American president. I want a president who loves this country, who fights for this country, who prioritizes this country. Donald Trump did that. And there's a whole lot of baggage that came along with it. But I'll take that over somebody who hates America every single day and twice on Sunday, because I live in Illinois and we can do that.
Yeah, the visceral, it's like visceral. You can almost, it's palpable. You can feel it coming off of people. And I just don't understand. I've never hated anybody that much in my life that they surround my thoughts about how much I don't like them. I don't have time for that kind of negativity. Like, I look at Joe Biden. I think he's doing a terrible job. I don't hate Joe Biden. I just think he's a bad president.
I agree.
You know, I look at Nancy Pelosi.
Do you have sympathy for Joe Biden?
A little bit, but
I do.
Part of me is like, well, you kind of did this to yourself, bud. You could have said no.
I wonder if he did.
I mean, if he didn't decide that he wanted to run for president, then he has no business being president.
I'm not disagreeing with you. We can still be on the same page with everything that's been said here.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think about the people who are elected to represent us in government and the celeb status, the notoriety that comes along with it outweighs the value and importance of what they are there to do. And people who devalue themselves by worshiping or the opposite of worshiping any political candidate, you've taken yourself out of the equation. I mean, like, that's an active decision that you have made, whether you're aware of it or not. If you can make an active decision, you have to understand that in this country, that the American individual is important, more important here than really anywhere else that you can find on this great earth. And the idea that you would vote for and support big government ideas that are always reaching into your pocket for the next thing that they want to provide for you. Have you ever asked yourself, could I provide this for myself without the government's help? If you're talking about roads and bridges, the answer is no, you cannot provide that for yourself. There needs to be a government entity that oversees that. A military defense, no, you can't provide that for yourself on a large scale. I absolutely believe the Second Amendment says you can on a small scale, and I flex those muscles. But on a large scale, when China is saying, let's double our military size, and Russia is going, we're going to implement martial law in Ukraine now. That was an announcement that was made this morning. And you know, what's Russia going to do next? Is China going to go take Taiwan, like to infiltrate into Taiwan and you know, push them from the existence that they know right now? These things are happening in the world. Are you prepared at your home address to defend against that? Of course you're not. You need a collective federal response that makes us the biggest, baddest military in the entire world that we are incredibly proud of. The kind that gives you goosebumps when you hear patriotic songs and see fireworks and notice a flag or a person walking around the grocery store with their veterans hat on that says they served in the Korean War or the Vietnam or whatever it might be. Those types of things need to be in your blood. And that person who's running the country needs to have that in their blood. And if they don't, I'm sorry, I'm not for you. But all of those things is what makes that person desirable to run the country. It's not the person. They have to embody those things that are important to the American individual and a love for what America is. I'm thinking about, Brad, like right now, think about prominent Democrats who would publicly talk about how they love this country. There have to be some.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, I think a prominent one that I think would say that they love the country would be Joe Manchin. I think he would say he loves the country. This is tough. This is not an easy...
I think that they do love the country. I just don't think that the Democratic Party wants to rubber stamp that idea.
I don't know that they do love the country because what they're putting forth as far as policy goes is not stuff that leaves the country the way it is. They want to change it. They don't love it the way it is.
Kyle says Tulsi just left the Democratic Party.
Yeah, she's not a Democrat anymore.
Democrat anymore.
And you see that with like, okay, these people love the Democratic Party, and then like a couple weeks later, or love the country, and then a couple weeks later, they're not Democrats anymore. It's weird. I think that the policies they put forth are harmful to the country, harmful to those ideas that you espouse, that you said are important. And I would suggest that maybe they don't really love the country as it is. They maybe love it for what they think it could be, but not what it is.
We see the country so differently, though, because if you want to like take that person's head in your hands and stare them straight in the eye because you care about them and you want them to see the way you see the world, what could you possibly say to them that makes them go, oh, I get it now? I don't know that exists. We just walk very different walks.
In a single moment, it doesn't. Over time, developing friendships and relationships and talking to people, I think that people will start seeing you for you and then your ideas and how you came to your ideas.
I think what happens is that Democrats in charge get their hands on policy, pass those policies, and starts creeping into your wallet, into your 401k, into your gas pump, into your grocery store bill. You start experiencing the true measure of Democratic policies, and you realize privately, this is not going well. That's where you, as somebody who might be conservative, moderate, extremely conservative, need to be somebody they feel comfortable talking to, not the person who they know is going to dunk on them and say, I told you so. You got to be open for that conversation and caring and understand that you're probably not going to agree on everything at the end of that conversation. But they have to be willing to come to you. Got to be that person for them. Let's take a quick break. Whole crew back in studio in just a minute.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional, lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues, 314-993-1800. windowworld.com.
Foley Dental Group, your destination for the best dental care in the bi-state region. I stand by that as somebody who goes to Foley Dental Group for my dental care provision, but also trusts my babies in the hands of the dentists and the caretakers at Foley Dental. They know how to assess your dental situation, and they treat it with great care and concern and kindness. When you go into Foley Dental Group, there's nobody who's going to make you feel more comfortable to get your basic cleaning, to get a cavity check, an x-ray, or if you need more care, if you need crowns, they do them incredibly fast. They're going to work with your insurance provider, and they are taking new patients right now. Foley Dental Group is incredibly conveniently located right off 270 at 159 in Illinois. It's easy to get to from the Missouri and Illinois side of the river with state-of-the-art facilities and the absolute best staff around. If you're looking for dental care, go to Foley Dental Group. You'll appreciate the opportunity to work with them. FoleyDentalGroup.com.
The Dave Munganast family of dealerships are celebrating the life and legacy of my grandfather, Dave Munganast Sr., with our 5th annual Founding Fathers Sales Event. Hi, this is Jessica Munganast. Come by and visit us at Dave Munganast St. Louis Honda and the Dave Munganast Pre-Owned Center of Bonne Terre, and you will receive a $150 gift card with the purchase of any pre-owned vehicle. Come see the difference, the Munganast difference today. Shop us 24/7 at DaveMunganast.com since 1965.
Don't miss Abby Johnson's Message of Life in St. Charles on Thursday, October 27th, when she keynotes Vitae Foundation's annual pro-life event. Abby's dramatic conversion from abortion clinic director to outspoken pro-life advocate has captured the hearts of many through her book and movie adaptation, Unplanned. That's October 27th at the St. Charles Convention Center. Reserve your seat today by going to adsforlife.org. That's adsforlife.org.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Easing the pressure at the pump. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden says his efforts to help stabilize gas prices are working as he announces another release from U.S. oil reserves.
President Biden says months of drawdowns from the strategic stockpile is playing a big role in bringing down oil prices.
So we're going to continue to responsibly use that national asset.
The president says 15 million barrels will be sold in December, continuing a 180 million barrel release authorized over the spring.
Look, it makes sense. I've been doing this for how long now? It's not politically motivated at all.
President Biden says he's directed his team to prepare for additional releases of the strategic reserve if necessary. He's urging Congress to pass permitting reform to allow for quicker approval of clean energy projects.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The president also says it's been a rough 4 or 5 years for the country. Former Vice President Mike Pence pouncing on that.
Under the Trump-Pence administration, we achieved energy independence. We became a net exporter of energy for the first time in 70 years. We did that by unleashing American energy.
And while the president accuses companies of putting profits ahead of production, the U.S. Oil and Gas Association president says White House actions have made it much harder to produce, and fixing that would have a far greater impact than anything announced today. New York City's first migrant shelter opens to help handle the busloads arriving from other states. It includes hundreds of cots and a variety of amenities.
COVID tests on arrival, a rec room with couches, TVs, Xboxes, and board games
labs, and a phone bank to call family and legal services, along with a cafeteria.
Fox's Laura Ingle on Randall's Island off Manhattan. The shelter is considered a short-term solution for asylum seekers. The mayor facing pushback, though, including from advocates who say more help is needed for the city's existing homeless and veteran populations. America's listening to Fox News.
Miss, missed you this morning. Kim told me you weren't feeling well, so I'm just doing a self-care check.
Oh, thank you, friend.
How you doing?
Girl, listen, my energy was so low because I didn't eat breakfast when I got up, so I had to miss virtual yoga with y'all.
Trust me, I understand.
But I'm doing much better now that I've eaten, so I'm back on track.
Great. In that case, let's get some steps in tonight. I'll come over and we can walk around the lake.
Sounds good. Appreciate you being in my business, too. Now, let me get in yours. Did you check your blood pressure today?
I did that and my squats, okay?
Okay.
High blood pressure is not going to be my friend if I can help it. See you at 6?
Let's get it. See you then.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Check in on one another and be a part of a healthy blood pressure movement. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Temperatures remain a good 15 degrees below average. Sunny and chilly going through the afternoon. 52, that's it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 40s this evening, 33 for the low. Thursday, sunshine, obviously a cold start, but 68 Thursday afternoon. Friday, sunny, 75. The weekend, sunshine, 78 each day. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet, and the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed. I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. Cowboy boots, running shoes, walking shoes, flat shoes, heels. Makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Air Comfort Service has thousands of 5-star reviews that you can check out for yourself if my endorsement of Air Comfort Service isn't enough. And I understand that. You want to double check, trust but verify, one man once said. Air Comfort Service was awarded the BBB Torch Award in 2020, an 8-time recipient of Carrier's President's Awards, and the awards just keep on coming in. This is because they are reliable. They are honest people. When you choose to call 314-513-0091, you are reaching out to people who are very good at what they do in the HVAC business, who are going to keep you in your comfort zone with a fair, honest price, and great people coming to do the work in your home or in your place of business. They do residential and they also do commercial services. You can call Air Comfort Service at 314-513-0091 and get a free second opinion on commercial HVAC repairs. If your furnace isn't doing what it's supposed to do, or if you don't even remember the last time that you've had a tune-up on it, reach out to Air Comfort Service for the very best in care. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Fall into a hiring spree with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Big ideas, real debate, solid entertainment. You found it here.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. We're glad that you're here. Had a great show so far. Deroy Murdock on at 1 o'clock, but also Joe Concha at 1:25, talking a little Joe Biden. And we mentioned this earlier in the show, and I guess it was at about 12:19 is specifically when we mentioned it, because I was like, we have about 20 seconds left to talk about this. We were talking about Joe Biden's comments to this young girl. Did we pull that sound ever? I don't know that we did.
I don't think so. I don't think that the sound was good enough for radio.
Yes,
so.
I understand. So a lot of people have seen this and commented on it already. It's not exactly a news story, but when we brought up the idea that Joe Biden continues to be around young girls in a very bizarre way, his comment to this young girl was no dating till you're 30?
Mm-hmm, something like that.
No serious guys until you're 30.
No serious guys until you're 30. Ryan, you said that was great advice. You were not complimenting Joe Biden saying, good on you. But you were saying that was good advice. I want to let you expound upon that a little bit before I react.
Yeah. Clarity. Joe Biden saying anything to any girl is probably going to be bad. So I'm not saying that he does a good job when he does that. But I am saying that that's that protective fatherly advice. He's not saying you actually, it's a joke. You're not saying don't ever date anybody until you're 30 years old. He's just saying, I want to keep you under my wing as long as possible. I'm going to be protective of you. It is, in fact, the advice that Danny Tanner gave to DJ Tanner, and Danny Tanner was America's dad on Full House. Therefore, it is great advice.
Did you see a stand-up?
No, it's probably a little dirtier than that.
Filthy. Hannah, come in here. We want to talk to you about this too. I actually think it's terrible advice.
Okay.
And I'll get to that here in a minute. And I want to pull in this conversation. So we could have a conversation about whether or not Joe Biden's actions were appropriate. That's a very short conversation.
Yeah, we're done with that.
I'm not here for that. TMZ called it out. TMZ wrote an article about him doing the pull the child in, lean down, take a whiff of the Tresemme shampoo in the hair, and everyone's going, I'll do it in a way Joe Biden would understand. Why? What are you doing? Knock it off. Okay, that being said, that's the conversation. Anybody disagree with that?
Nope.
Good?
Good.
Brad doesn't want to comment because he thinks it's great.
No, no.
Brad, that's weird.
Weird. Why? He's off the mic doing something important on the computer. Call him out.
He'd vote for him again, though.
Totally. All he does is talk about how great Joe Biden is here.
Off air.
Yeah. It's totally
We
different
should,
than
we should
his
have
other.
a conversation about this at some point because everything he does is an act.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Don't you like how he's not taking the bait?
I should do that more. When
What?
you guys do that to me, I
Not
should
take the
not
bait?
take the bait. But I take the bait 100% of the time.
You take the bait before it's been thrown into the water,
yeah,
sir.
I'm ready for it.
Do you know why I don't take the bait?
Because you're a better man than I.
Because I am confident in who I
I'm
am
better
as a
than
man.
So I'm better than you. Let me specifically tell you how I'm better than you.
Because I'm confident in who I am as a man.
See, I'm not. Not
Obviously.
At all. Not at all. I got to defend everything all the time. Got to come out swinging at everything.
The only thing I'm not confident about is height.
Clearly.
Oh.
Ooh.
I'm 5'11", I swear.
I earned that.
It's a great YouTube short. If you haven't subscribed to the
is
Annie
awesome.
Frey YouTube channel, I gotta look up how many. We're very close to 4,000 subscribers. Have
We're
you
not.
subscribed
We
yet?
weren't there yet as
no,
of this morning.
We're very
We
close.
checked.
Though. We need 142. 142. We could almost do that by the end of the show.
We could, maybe.
142 people to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. You will not be disappointed with the YouTube shorts that Anna is putting together for us all the time. But yeah, the height thing, I just threw that out there specifically to get you guys worked up, and you did not disappoint. This doesn't have to do with what we're talking about with Joe Biden, though. The idea that Joe Biden has decades of weird behavior around children, we're setting that aside. We agree it's weird collectively. Brad?
I agree. That's
4
weird.
out of 4
Yes.
radio broadcasters
After
in the room.
social pressure.
Here's the question, though. Is the advice that Joe Biden gave, that age-old advice, no serious men until you're 30, when he's talking to a 12?
Again, doesn't really matter how old she is.
No, it does matter. Because people would say that you're saying that's grandpa or uncle or dad advice to a 12-year-old. Is it good advice when it's in the context of a non-weird relationship?
Yes, because it's not real advice. It's I want to protect you for as long as I can because I love you and I don't want to see you go.
Say that instead of saying no serious men till you're 30. I will say this. Brad and I were discussing this a little bit before because he saw something. Oh, you had an experience a couple weekends ago, and you messaged me like, I couldn't be a girl dad. You'd be a great girl dad, Brad. But the idea of being a boy mom, that kind of comes with some territory too. And if you think about, if I think about down the line that my son, God willing, is going to marry someone someday, every time my son is doing something that's like super boneheaded, like 12-year-old thing that they all do, I look at my husband and I go, Jared, we are raising somebody's husband. And he always goes, maybe. I'm like, of course we are. But, 12-year-old that is a special time of life. I am working really hard on raising a good young man. And I married my husband when he was 23. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a lot of things worked out at 23 that he does now as he's nearing 40. But there was nothing wrong with the idea in our early 20s of settling down, respecting ourselves, respecting each other, and having a good relationship that started young. And I do believe two things, that the idea of telling girls you can't date any serious guys till you're 30 takes the power and the empowerment out of young women to be able to enter into positive relationships with good young men. And the other thing that drives me crazy is the whole concept of people talking about dating your daughter, like about the whole shotgun, like sitting on your porch. Like, I understand the caricature. I understand the picture. I get it. But what you said there, Brad, is that you or Ryan.
I'm Ryan.
Hi. How you doing?
Hi.
I wish I wouldn't have pointed because I could have just pivoted.
Yeah, you could have. You could have.
Lifted my whole arm and pointed.
That's
at
why you
Ryan
need to
and said,
subscribe to the YouTube channel because you can see when she messes up. Sometimes I don't call her on it. Most times I do.
Which times don't you call me on it? Yeah, what?
I'll have to think about that. But in the meantime,
there's a pretty strong batting average.
I'll tell you
if
this.
I mess up,
I'll tell you this.
Are you gonna
For
list off things I messed up?
No, I won't. But there is a clip that I've been holding on X's and O's that maybe I'll work it in on Friday. It is of you saying something.
I won't be here.
Oh, well, then I'll hold it.
Okay.
And I've been holding it. So I don't know if I'll ever get to it.
Did I say something wrong?
You fumbled something and I clipped it. And I've been waiting to use it for the perfect moment. And I will at some point. So that's a little bit of a tease. It's a radio tease for Friday.
But not this Friday.
Not if Hannah's gone.
Hey, Steve, we're going to have that conversation. going to have that conversation. I think that when you look at the caricature that people paint of fathers having to sit on their porch with shotguns to scare the suitor that may be coming by, there are men and women raising respectable young men, and it is a difficult thing to do, especially in this time. You know, we've kind of actually moved a little bit out of the Me Too era, the believe all women. Now it's anybody can be a woman. Who knew? We've kind of shifted away from that, but it is a frightening time to think about raising boys and sending them out into the world in an era where it used to seem anti-boy. Now it's actually anti-girl in the sense that we don't even know what, we're not collectively agreeing. I actually think we are more than we're willing to say out loud on what a girl actually is. But we have to empower boys to understand what it means to be gentlemen. And I think that perpetuating the idea that every boy is a sex-crazed maniac who's trying to come attack your daughter actually takes away from the understanding that we do need to uphold men for what men are supposed to be. And the idea that a good man exists and can exist at a young age is an important story to tell. And so I know that people who suggest who do the whole shotgun routine, I know that sometimes, most of the time, that's probably in jest. But it does frustrate me on the inside because I feel like it is good to be a man. It is good to be a manly man. It is good to be a strong depiction of what traditionally is known to be a man. The things that are set apart that make men are good things. Just like the things that set women apart about being feminine are good things, and that there is nothing wrong with celebrating it. And I think that we should hold a publicly stronger expectation for what young boys should achieve to be when it comes to being manly and growing into being young men and gentlemen. That the idea that if you don't sit on your front porch with a shotgun, then obviously the inevitable is going to happen. Raise your daughter in a way that you know that she will bring home that gentleman. And I'm doing that with my girls, probably to the dismay of some of the boys that might choose to date them in the future, to be very strong young women. We have to invest in our kids and not scare them in a way that says, don't date until you're 30, which is why I think Joe Biden's advice, even if he were saying it to his own child or grandchild, is terrible advice.
The thing for me about that advice is no serious. When you add the serious, no serious, great guys. What kind of guys are you wanting to date?
That's
Hunter
fair.
Biden's
That's
you
fair
know,
criticism.
and my thing is this:
no serious guys, just
like,
flings.
Like to me, and this
like the exact opposite of what I just said.
Yeah. To me, the struggle with dating through high school and whatever, I never had a lot of girlfriends because I always viewed dating as something that I was doing to look for a potential spouse, a potential mate, somebody that I could spend the rest of my life with. You're usually not going to find that person on the first go. But the intent is to discover what that person is or who that person is supposed to be, and you learn from that. But the whole purpose of dating, just in general, is to find a spouse, to find somebody to spend time with.
That is so counterculture right now.
Oh, I know.
And I agree with it. But it's super counterculture.
And so whenever you tell these girls, no serious guys, it's like, oh, yeah, well, go sow your wild oats and do whatever you want. And then when you're 30, you
Brian
can think
will
about
explain that what that means on the break.
Okay, yeah, because I don't get it.
And then when you meet the right guy after 30, then you can settle down. Well, I'll tell you what, the quality kind of man that you want isn't going to want that kind of girl.
No, because I'm raising my daughters to snatch him up.
Mm-hmm. No, and seriously, and then you were talking about raising men to be men. Dads, if you're out there, if you're listening, you have to model that behavior. You have to be the man that you would want. You're modeling that behavior for your daughter to watch, to see, this is the kind of man I want to marry. So you have to be the man that you want your daughter to marry. You also have to be the man that you want your son to grow up to be.
Men who are out there who don't have sons, there are sons out there who don't have dads.
Mm-hmm.
Men still need to stand up to be men. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, get an explanation of what manliness is from Ryan.
Okay. I'll do a good job, I promise.
Yeah, I do want to know, when we come back, Ryan, what does it mean to be a man? Serious question for you. Serious question for the audience. And also, Hannah, who is freshly 21, has been dating Mr. Wonderful for a little bit. We'll get her thoughts as a Gen Zer on the issue and the expectations that are out there for young folks today. Lots to talk about here on the Annie Frey Show, and St. Louis is home for conservative talk. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 is your place for full Decision 2022 coverage.
Decision 2022.
Sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes on 97.1 FM Talk.
Fountains Family Dentistry. Go there if you feel tired during the day. Get their sleep apnea device. It is very, very easy to do, and most places tell you, well, if you have a CPAP, go ahead and switch over to this because it's easier. You can travel with it easier. It's not so loud. And that is definitely an option. But I always tell you, look, if you're just having trouble with sleep at all, this is something you should check out. So visit fountains.familydentistry.com and give them a call. They'll be able to tell you whether you're eligible for one, because honestly, some people are not. Some people you're having trouble sleeping for a different reason than sleep apnea, but it is very, very common. And my testimony is that about 10 years ago, I realized I had it. Didn't know I was snoring really bad, but knew that was a problem, but didn't know it was apnea. Got fitted for one of these things only because my friend, Dr. Ty Parker, is a dentist. I wouldn't have even done it otherwise. And it changed my life instantly. So can't recommend it enough. I'm not only an endorser, I'm also a client. Visit fountainsfamilydentistry.com. They're in Fairview Heights, Illinois. Easy to get to right off of Highway 64. Fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
What's up, everybody? Guess who's hosting a new podcast? No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith. Listen as I pull back the curtain on everything beyond the world of sports, interviewing influential guests, outspoken celebrities, and thought leaders across the political, financial, and social spectrum. You know me, I'll give you my unbiased opinion. A No Mercy episode drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No Mercy with Stephen A. Smith, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you listen to your podcast.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic.
Probiotics? They don't really work. It's time to learn the truth about probiotics from Align, the probiotic brand recommended by gastroenterologists 2 times more than any other probiotic brand. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel at AlignProbiotics.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available, and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, October 19th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, a gift that can produce rapid results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys, trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is unprecedented, worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you that money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types qualify, including those who took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help your business too. Just go to getrefunds.com and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
Caught my heart about 1-2 times. Don't need to question the reason I'm yours. I'm yours.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Cause you got no flaws. No flaws. I'm not trying to be your part-time lover. Sign me up for them full-time. I'm yours. All yours. So what a man gotta do.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We were talking about the creepy comment that Joe Biden made earlier to that young girl, and we're not talking so much about the Joe Biden part of it because that is what it is. But the advice that Joe Biden gave about no serious guys till you're 30, I think it's terrible advice because I think that young women should be seeking out a suitor, a husband, somebody to share their life with as soon as it appropriately fits their life. And who's Joe Biden to tell her how to live her life? Brad makes a good point. If there's no serious guys before 30, what kind of guys is he suggesting that she should seek out? Very important point, I think.
Dudes in leather jackets.
And motorcycles.
Yeah.
And they smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, sometimes.
They could be good guys, too.
I didn't
With
say
eye
they weren't.
patches
They just
and
sound
scars.
awesome.
Is that who you were when you were 20?
I was that person up until just a couple years ago.
Ryan's actually that person until he walks into the office.
So I wanted to ask about the idea of manliness because I think it is important. In my comments in the last segment, if you missed it, you can rewind us on the Odyssey app. Follow 97.1 FM Talk right there. I believe that the whole caricature of, dad or whatever sitting on the front porch with a shotgun when, young man takes your daughter out to date is not a good depiction. I get it, but I don't really prefer it. I don't like it because I think that it takes away the understanding and the idea that there are people raising good, strong young men to be good men, and we should be raising our daughters to be self-respecting, to choose those good men. Is it naive of me? Potentially, but I'm doing the best I can with 3 daughters and 1 son who's 12 years old. Ryan, you are a girl dad as well. Your kiddos are young. But you've also got sons too, so you can kind of see both sides of this. When you think about being a man and the importance of manhood in our culture today, especially in the context of what culture is being pushed into, like the androgynous nature of it, how it's interesting that gender is supposed to be this incredible spectrum now. You can't just pick a few genders. It's literally limitless. And you see how men are depicting themselves as women by putting on articles of clothing. And I'm using the word appropriating womanhood because I feel like that's what it is. How do you feel as a girl dad, but also as a boy dad, about what the state that manhood is in today?
The manhood is not doing well. However, there is a tremendous pushback that I'm seeing that there's not enough focus on the pushback because the pushback has happened over the last couple of years because people have gotten fed up with there being no such thing as manhood. And I feel like men have begun to take that back and say, no, there actually is such a thing as manhood. It does need to be respected. It needs to be cultivated, but it also needs to be celebrated and trained into young men as to what it means to be a good man. And that's why I actually believe that caricature, while kind of cheesy, of the guy on the porch with the shotgun or whatever it is, it's actually, to me, not a bad caricature. It is a protective man, and that is an instinct of a man to be protective of a woman in his life, in this case, his daughter. And that, to me, is a very good instinct and should be cultivated.
It also doesn't mean that if a man's instinct is to be protective of a woman in their life or their family, that the woman's instinct isn't to be strong and protective at the same time. That there isn't. It's not as if if men are supposed to be the strong gender, the protective gender, that women are supposed to constantly be like, woe is me, like that. I've never been that person. And I have not ever thought that I need a man for the sole purposes of being safe. But I always feel safer when there's a man around me.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked before about, being in the city, in St. Louis, or honestly being anywhere. If I'm by myself, especially if I'm somewhere in a public figure capacity and I don't have somebody with me, I have my head on a swivel. Mm-hmm. But if I am somewhere alone, especially if I'm showing up somewhere, for the show or for a speaking engagement or something, if I am by myself, the thoughts about what could happen to me are different than, Brian, your thoughts would be if you were doing the exact same service,
mm-hmm.
emceeing an event, speaking, delivering a speech, just being somewhere to meet people. You walking into an event, the nefarious things that people may want to do to you are going to be different than the nefarious things that people are going to want to do to me. And possibly the idea of the people who would want to do that to you versus the people doing that to me, the possibility for me to be outmanned, pun intended, I suppose, it's more likely. And when I think about what could be done to me versus what you would be thinking could be done to you, I mean, there's a huge difference there. And it's just true that the presence of a man in that scenario lessens the likelihood that something like that is going to happen to you.
Yes. And you said this in the last segment, and I disagree with what you said based on what you just said. You said that not every young man is a sex-crazed, whatever you were, sex-crazed.
Predator? I didn't say that, but I'm adding that right now.
And I disagree. I think every young man is a sex-crazed nut. Some of them have self-control and some do not. And so you're talking about a situation that may be abusive, but you're talking about the genders based on sex too. And I do think that there is that element there that women have to contend with, like you were just saying, that men don't as much anyway. Not saying they never do, but they don't as much. And that applies to not only the situation you're talking about, but also to the parent and the protective situation. Because you do have to watch that much more in a young man coming to your house than a young woman coming to your house.
What do you think, Brad?
I get where Ryan's coming from. I don't know that girls, you ladies, understand a man's sex drive. I think in general, you don't understand how powerful of a force that can be in a guy's life. But to Ryan's point, men learn to control it. Guys don't. Yeah. Guys don't learn to control it. Men learn to control it. That's part of the job of a dad, is to help teach their son how to have all of this. Guys are supposed to be aggressive. They're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to be powerful. They're supposed to be dangerous. But it's all in how you use that and what you use that for. It's about bringing that monster under control. And then having that monster there. Because a man can't really protect his family if he's not dangerous. He can't protect his family if he's not dangerous. So it's about being under control. So you take all of the things that everybody says that is toxic masculinity, you take that, you put it under control, and you use it for a good direction, for a good cause, for a good reason. It's not selfish stuff that men have these traits for. We're wired that way for a reason. We have that for a good reason, and it's to be a good man is to take those traits that everybody would think that is toxic, put them under control, and use them for good, to be a force for good. So, Annie, you said you never in your life, you don't necessarily need defending, but I do remember you telling a story about, I think you were at a football game and you were pregnant, and Jared helped you get out of this crowd, and there was a moment when you said, aha, because he spoke up, he was doing his thing, and you're like, it's nice to not have to be worried about what's going on because he's got this under control.
Well, what happened was I was about 7 months pregnant, and we were at the bragging rights football game at the Edward Jones Dome, and the crowd in the area where the ring outside the concourse, I guess, it was packed wall to wall with people, and there's no determined flow of traffic, and people were getting frustrated because people were trying to move, and it wasn't like if you walk on the right side. For whatever reason, it was push, and people started to push, and people started to yell, and I was in the middle, pregnant, and my husband just like cleared a path very assertively. But yeah, that is a male trait. I absolutely 100% believe that women have exactly that trait. Put a mother and her child in that scenario. There is no doubt in my mind that a woman would not take care of business exactly the same way as a man. But going back to the comments about my comments about not every man out there is a sex-crazed predator of sorts, I'm standing by that comment, because the idea of being sex-crazed is to mean that the only purpose that any man would ever have, or any young man or any boy would ever have in pursuit of a girl, the only idea that they would ever have in their mind is the idea that they're trying to somehow or another get him into bed. That doesn't mean that idea isn't in their head. But of course there are boys. I married one of them. Regardless of what was going on in his thought and in his head when he was dating me, he always treated me like a gentleman. That was important to him, and that was attractive to me, that regardless of what's going on in a 20-year-old or a 21 or 22-year-old mind, that there was still a respect for who I was as an individual. And I would say, in that same vein, don't underestimate a female's, potential desire for that same kind of thing. But the idea is that when there's a young man coming to your doorstep to take your daughter out, I need to raise my daughters to value the things in a young man that say yes to the good boys who want to ask her out and no to the bad guys, and to not put herself in a position where those types of guys are going to be infiltrating her circle. To suggest, I am not suggesting that young teenage boys don't have that pursuit on the brain all the time, but I don't think that it is an acceptable depiction of young men to suggest that everything they do all the time is about that. That is demeaning to them. They are learning. Of course, it is a process. It is something, it is very much so, even more of a reason why I think that these types of conversations need to happen a lot, and children need to be educated and talked to about these things in the home and not in the classroom, because the idea that you would be teaching 3rd to 5th graders, I'm talking to you, Illinois, about sex for pleasure in the classroom, and if you're against that, you need to vote Republican in November. The idea that sex is for pleasure is not really an education in an elementary classroom, but it is. It's actually a huge advocacy of the left and the Democrats right now. These conversations need to be had in the home, and I don't believe that every boy that is out there right now that would be in pursuit of my daughters is specifically only after one thing. And I don't believe that I'm raising my daughters to seek out boys that are like that. Is it on their mind? Of course it's on their mind. That's why we have to raise our sons and daughters in the same capacity to understand who they are biologically, what they're going to feel, what they're going to want, and to understand the context in which that feeling and that biological urge is a very, very good thing. That context has to come from the home. But the suggestion that the only way to stop that from happening, to keep those urges from happening, is to threaten with a shotgun that you've got to be cleaning on your front porch, you're taking away the entire idea that we can have good young men and good young women spending time together in a way that glorifies the values that you raise those children to hold dear. You have to prioritize that, and it does start in the home. And if you haven't had that conversation with the young person in your life that might be entering into that portion of their life, I feel like you're going to be having that conversation as a reactionary moment that involves consequence, as opposed to a preparatory one that actually talks about mitigation. I don't know. It's complicated to talk about.
It sure is.
And I just really don't think that the idea, the casual caricature of no serious guys till you're 30 is a respectful conversation to women, because it's like, you can't handle this until you're 30. We haven't talked to Hannah about this yet. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on Joe Biden's comment about you shouldn't date, You shouldn't date serious guys?
No serious guys until you're 30.
No serious guys until you're 30. Okay. we said we would set Joe Biden himself aside from this and just look at what he was saying about not dating seriously until you're 30. I disagree with this comment, and I'm not just disagreeing because I'm 21 years old and I think I'm, right all the time. I'm not saying that. I think it's not fair to set age restrictions on anything relationship-wise, whether it's how old you should be when you date, when you're older, not like when you're 11 years old or anything, but older, like, oh, I need to be married by 25. I don't think that's fair to set time expectations on that. Everybody's different. Every relationship is different. People mature at different rates. I feel like recently I've been getting a lot of backlash for dating Mr. Wonderful for the amount we've been dating. We've been dating for going on 4 years in February. We started dating when we were 17, juniors in high school, and he's a junior in college now. And a lot of people are like, the age you're at right now, you need to grow and learn by yourself, blah, blah, blah. And I really, really disagree with that. Are we in a formative time in our lives? Yes. Does that mean we have to do it separately? No. I disagree with all those comments. I don't think it's fair for the woman or the man.
There are people who are 35 who maybe aren't ready yet.
Everybody's different. Every single relationship is different. And you know what? No matter how Mr. Wonderful and I end up, this will be the greatest lesson that I've ever learned. Mm-hmm. And we both did experience, other relationships before one another. And that's fine. And still, every day, we learn something new about each other, and I love it. And I don't think it was fair for Joe Biden or anybody to say you shouldn't date serious guys until you're 30. I don't agree with that.
Love the comments coming in on the live chat. While you are there, vote in today's Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. What's your main emotion about the 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? Let's get some results and your comments on that issue with Hannah when we come back. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk. We're glad to be here with you. Thanks for choosing to spend some of your afternoon with us. We'll be back in just a minute.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. I'm sure. So I gave $1 million just to go to The Mark Reardon Show.
Jake Kerr, he's running for state rep.
The LRA, the state law, to incentivize people to pay their property taxes. I feel like kicking people out of homes that literally no one else wants to live in is barbaric.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Slim 180 online at myslim180.com, your destination for weight loss. Have you thought about dropping some pounds? I want you to consider what Slim 180 can do for you. Right now, they have half off some of their programs, 50% savings. That's a huge, huge savings. Reach out to the people at Slim 180 at a location near you. They have 6 of them across the St. Louis area. You can find them all at myslim180.com and talk to them about how you can save money on losing the weight. They are going to talk to you and counsel you through a program catered to you to help you have effective results that you're going to see pretty quickly. When you talk to the people at Slim 180, you can give them your goals, your hopes, and they can tell you, we can achieve this in this amount of time. You're going to have a plan laid out for you that is going to illustrate how you are going to achieve the goals that maybe you've never been able to achieve before, or maybe you've never tried to achieve before. Get it right the first time with Slim 180. I have done it myself and have had success on it, and I hope that you'll give it the opportunity for you to have the same kind of success. You can find all the details online at myslim180.com.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel, but inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studios. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 53 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
In my shoes, my toes are busted. My kitchen says my bread is molded. I got a good job at the dollar store. 1 foot in the
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
and I ain't got much else to lose.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I think it's important to mention that today's Wiggins America was about Ron DeSantis's leading the effort to recover from Hurricane Ian. And that was a request that was made to us on the Annie Frey Show Facebook. Somebody sent us a message and was like, I'd really like to know more about this. So we're going to open up the field for people who want to request things that they'd like Wiggins America to investigate. And then if Ryan likes it, he might do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Keep them coming, and I'll choose ones that to me sound interesting.
Which doesn't necessarily mean super important, but it just has to capture Ryan's interest level, and it might happen.
Today was a great one.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Like if you get on there right now and you say, Ryan, you know what I would really like to know is how is the reboot of Quantum Leap? There's a Wiggins America for sure.
That's something that he might really love to talk about, and he's going to source friends now who will casually suggest the things that he really wanted to talk about the entire time. But yeah, you can message us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. You can comment there. If you have a Wiggins America suggestion, try to get Ryan's attention that way, or you can send suggestions to the Facebook page. Make sure you like the Facebook page or follow. I don't know what, I think our follows on our Facebook page have stayed the same for about a year.
That sounds about right.
It's bizarre. And I quit even trying to fight that battle.
And there have been there have been things that we've posted on there that I don't want to say have gone viral, but they've gotten pretty big responses.
We have a lot of reaction there.
For there to be no growth.
Correct.
That's ridiculous.
And I do have a lot of people, this happens all the time, who are like, I liked this page like years ago, and you don't like it now anymore, or don't follow it or whatever. So I don't know. Go follow or like the Facebook page if you want to, or don't. I don't even know.
It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want.
Do what you want.
Do what you want.
Whatever you believe is true.
On the subscription on the YouTube front, though, we are 132 people away from 4,000.
Ooh.
Oh, that's dropped. That's good.
Yeah, 132. So if you haven't subscribed to the Annie Frey YouTube channel with all of your Google accounts yet, go do that now.
Does this mean we're going to have to dance?
Yeah, that's right. 4,000. That's right. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding us.
I don't remember this.
I remember
It's
it.
on the YouTube short.
Yeah.
If
You said you would do it even if we didn't reach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I dance all the time, so that didn't affect me.
If we get to 4,000 YouTube subscribers, Hannah is going to coordinate a dance because she's a dancer along with Anna out there, Digital Anna, and they're going to put together a dance. We're going to make a video out of it, and it's going to include Brad and Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Get your dancing shoes ready.
In your in your professional experience as a dancer,
You're talking specifically to Hannah right
to
now.
Hannah, not to Brad. Have you ever seen what we call the floppy arms dance?
I have. I see it all the time on our live stream.
It's hard to unsee it.
Okay, just making sure. Maybe you could incorporate that into the dance. I'm just saying, I don't know if I'm better at it than anybody else, but I could try.
I'll consider that.
Thank you.
Consider it considered.
YouTube live chat poll.
YouTube live chat poll. Let's go there. All right, the question today is asking, what is your main emotion regarding the pending 2022 midterm election? Excitement, fear, anxiety, or hope? 41% of the people said they are feeling hope as their main emotion towards the midterm election. 34% of the people say they are feeling anxiety. 17% say excitement. 9% say fear. I'll get to some comments. Betsy says she agrees with me when I said that I was feeling anxiety. She said, I do feel slightly hopeful, but anxiety won for me since the 2020 election. Diane from YouTube says, while I'm feeling hopeful, anxiety wins out because there's everything at stake as the future of our country. Barbara McCoy from Facebook says fear and anxiety. Marley says mine is all four. With that said, I sure hope Darren Bailey gets in. Me too. Officer Gary said, I voted hope our country can survive 2 more years of Biden. Weapons Free from YouTube said, hope was my vote. I hope we can slow the democratic destruction of America. Then I hope that we can begin to reverse the damage that has been done since President Trump left office. Some more comments here. Katie Matthews from YouTube said, I feel ready for the election, but since ready wasn't an option, I choose hope. After the Bailey-Trussell rally tonight, I might be more excited, but my hope will not end until we know the results. Bo Snerdley said,
Oh, hey, Bo Snerdley's listening.
Wow. That's what it really says there.
Yep. I voted fear for the upcoming election. Even if we win, the extreme left still controls the media, education, big business, and a lot of government. Even if we win big, we're losing the war. Jennifer Harris said, today's poll question, I picked anxiety. I heard Annie say if she was a Missouri resident, she'd be excited. But here in St. Louis County, I'm worried we'll be stuck with Paige. Hopefully not. Jennifer Harris, I live in St. Louis County too. I am also nervous.
Hannah,
Vote
when
Mark.
you say hope, it sounds like very Midwestern. Like, hope, got to sneak by you there.
Any more comments?
Yes. Let's see. Dan from YouTube said, I am anxious. My excitement for the midterms as I fear my hopes will be crushed the red wave wins, but does not follow through with the change that the country needs. I'm pretty sure that was 3 answers in one. Jarl said,
I'm
how we feel,
encouraged.
right?
I'm encouraged that hope is the leading one, though. I think that's the right place.
These are my people.
They are your people. If we separate into camps, nobody said excited, or very few people.
You did.
I am really glad that I can't remember which commenter it was that mentioned the Bailey rally tonight. I want to mention that right now for people who are interested. Folks, if you're in Illinois and you have an afternoon, evening to spare here at 6 o'clock and the Public Square, 10 Public Square in Belleville, it's free to attend. There is going to be a Darren Bailey bus tour rally, and it would be great for people to show up there to be a part. Like I keep saying, this is an easy way for you to participate in something that is going to move the needle. It's at 6 o'clock this evening, 10 Public Square in Belleville. Darren Bailey and Stephanie Trussell will be there with their bus tour. They've done multiple bus tours. It's swinging through Belleville. We're going to get Darren Bailey on the show, if not this week, early next week. So you want to stick around for that. But go show your support and talk to people. Go talk to people at this rally at 6 p.m. in Belleville, 10 Public Square, that are in the same boat you are, and connect with one another so that you can figure out how you can be stronger in numbers. So please consider that 6 p.m., 10 Public Square in Belleville, free to attend the Darren Bailey and Stephanie Trussell Belleville bus tour stop rally. Go be there. I would be there if I could. I don't have a van. I don't have a way to get there.
Van update? Is it fixed?
Yeah, is
I
there
don't
one?
know.
You don't know?
No, I've had to focus on this show.
I don't know why. You should just stop talking in the middle of a segment.
I didn't start focusing on the show until about 12:04, and then I was panicking. But we made it. We stuck the landing. A lot of interesting comments from people on this specific YouTube live chat poll. We actually took calls at the 12:25 segment. We don't always do that, and we're glad that we were able to get as many people on as we could. It's great to hear from people, from voters, and I if you're like me, you hear other people are a little anxious about it. I think it's good to know that other people are anxious about it, but also to hear that other people are excited and hopeful.
Here's an excited comment. Dan C. says, I'm so excited for this election. In Missouri, we are going to get a great new senator, and for the first time, I have huge hope for all my friends and family in Illinois.
Thank
Me
you.
too. I agree with that, Dan C.
We only need 128 subscribers.
I'm going to project here and say the people who are saying they have anxiety about the election, they don't actually have anxiety about the election. They have anxiety about
everything
what's happening. Yeah, everything that's happening. And the election is just part of, oh my gosh, that's another thing.
No, I specifically have anxiety about the election.
And how it would go?
It's just a lot at stake.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake. And when there's still hope, it's like if you were the Guardians playing the Yankees in Game 5, even if it's the bottom of the 7th inning and you're down 3 or 4 runs, you still have hope. When it's over, it's over. And the anxiety of what's going to happen in that time, you just want to know if you can close the gap. And I just want to know if we're going to close the gap. Here's the last piece of advice I'll give you folks. Pray for your country. Pray for your state. It matters. It makes a difference. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next.